Ladies and gentlemen, please excuse this brief interruption, but I have to tell you about a very cool and interactive way that you can experience the show. I'm talking about how you can chime in on the live show broadcast at your convenience using the Buy Me a Coffee app on your phone. You might be asking, what the heck is Buy Me a Coffee? Well, it's a fun and easy way that you can tip the show during our live broadcast or even later at buymeacoffee.com/dangerousinfopodcast. I also have that link listed down below in the description. Now get this, when you see the Buy Me a Coffee banner show up on the screen when you're watching the show, it's got the logo and all that, that is the time when you can send your tip. But here's the fun part. It happens instantaneously and your message will just pop up on the screen along with a little audio message that I have preloaded. It might be a rooster crowing, a crazy dog bark, or a hilarious audio clip that I ended up finding along the way. So your interaction will hit us by surprise, and you, along with the other live viewers, will enjoy a laugh by what you just did. And if that isn't enough, I just learned that on the audio playback on the screen in your car, you will also get a fun alert scrolling across the radio. Yeah, that's crazy. But be careful driving is what I'm saying. All right, now let's get you back to the show, and I look forward to seeing your surprise pop up unexpectedly so you can scare Outcast and make us laugh. All right, you guys, stay dangerous by hitting us with the most interactive message. Now let's get back to the show.
Our institutions have become corrupt. Unconstitutional agencies are infringing on your rights. Your liberty was secured by strong men and women of yesterday. We live in the age of disinformation and corporate propaganda. You're an American, born with unalienable rights. Yet those rights are being trampled every day by unelected busybodies. Welcome to the Dangerous Info Podcast with Jesse James and Outcast. Dangerous. Stay blessed in the battle.
Who are the people that got killed? Of 963, how many do you think were black?
600 will be black.
600.
And then like the rest will be like maybe Hispanic.
600 black. What would you say?
Probably like 500.
Here we go. This is a thinking class right now. I'm walking you through some thinking. Okay, go to the next one. So how many of the 963 people were unarmed? How many do you think were unarmed? Here we go. Go to the next slide. So here are the numbers. You said 400 were unarmed. You said 500 were unarmed. What do you think about that number?
I'm actually kind of like shocked. I honestly thought like, I'm not saying like the media, like, I don't know, they just made it seem like, the guy was innocent, Just crazy how 517 had a gun. I would think it would be less than that.
So 22 out of 233 black people who police killed in 2016 were unarmed. 22. So that means you have a 0.6 chance in a million of being unarmed, black skin, and killed by the police. If he stays unarmed, you say, bro, listen, in spite of how you're dressed, in spite of who you are, if you remain unarmed, right, that's the likelihood of you being killed by the police. If you're going to protest like that, but this whole thing is based on police violence against black and brown people. So if you're going to protest, really step out in this way, you got to know what you're protesting. Is it a genocide? So when I see someone holding a sign up that says, stop the genocide of black people at a protest, and I'm saying, I wouldn't call that a genocide. There's a lot happening here, but that's not what I would call it. It's really important that we know what we're talking about so that we can be confident and have realistic and good conversations.
This program is not intended to treat, cure, prevent, or diagnose any disease. Join Jesse, James, and Outcast as they dial into the truth so you can keep your head on a swivel and guard your heart from the bogus fear they're trying to throw at us every day. Welcome to the Dangerous Info Podcast. Dangerous Info Podcast.
All right, everybody. It is Monday night. That's right, January 12th, 2026. Welcome to another Monday night show. That's right, you guys. Welcome to the spiritual and the cultural battle of our lives, where truth is dangerous and information is a weapon. Absolutely. Listen, tonight we're going to be talking about politics, culture, Yahweh, survival, preparedness in this crazy, crazy world while being harassed by these demon spirits of the dead giants is what I'm saying. These Nephilim are running crazy amok today in 2026. Hey, listen, you guys, give us a roll call if you're out there tonight. Where are you guys from? I want to see it up on the screen, all right? We got a big one tonight, Outcast. That's right. Episode number 250 tonight, brother. I'm a conspiracy theorist featuring Dr. Sean Brooks. That's right. Dr. Sean is back. Listen, you guys, we have a whole lot of stuff to get to tonight, but I want to make sure, let me bring this down just a little bit, that you guys are following us over on YouTube as well. All right, we're going to be getting rid of Facebook pretty soon here, so I want to make sure you guys can follow us everywhere else. I'm talking about Rumble and YouTube and Twitch and Pill.net and BitChute's coming back because Facebook, you can't trust it, right? That's one we can't trust. And so we're going to make some changes. So make sure you get over there. Follow us somewhere else, too. If you're on Facebook, just a warning. We're going to run you guys out until the end of January, and then we're going to be cutting you off, all right? Outcast, what I'm saying is, listen, YouTube is not, or Facebook has not been good to us, the show, all right? So what are we going to do? We're going to be proactive and get to somewhere friendly, all right? So friendly to the truth, friendly to what we want to say. And Outcast, welcome to the show, brother. What is going on tonight?
Oh, you know me. I'm blessed in the battle. Life is not easy sometimes, or it's uncertain, but I know that I am blessed, and I am super grateful for where God has gotten me to in this point in my life. Just
excellent.
Sorry about that, Jess, but I'm good.
Excellent. No. Good to see everybody. I see there's so many people in the chat rooms just lining up, and last one in, put another log on the fire, will you? So you guys don't get cold out there is what I'm saying. So it's nice and cozy in here where I'm at. Got the fire going underneath this desk right now, and one over here on the wall. Having a good time. It is a cold January night here in Detroit, Outcast, and the sky is there's stars up there. No clouds, very cold, but very nice and warm in here. So I'm glad to have everybody on tonight. Top of 2026. Listen, you guys, we have a bunch of stuff coming up. I want to touch on some of these things right now before we get going. So yes, our move away from Facebook is coming at the end of this month. Now, I talked about it on last show, Outcast, on the Thursday morning Rise and Shine show. You couldn't make it because you were working that day, but you have, check that out. I'm going to put that on the screen. So, Dr. Sean, thank you so much for caught up on past episodes. Love you guys. Thank you for the prayers. That's right. That's Saved by Grace. That's Amber Dawn, guys. Yep.
Back in the house.
Awesome. So good to see everybody. Everybody from, there's Isabel Kalen. Good evening from MO. That would be Missouri, right? Missouri?
Yeah. I would think MO is Missouri, right?
Montana is MN. Yeah. So Missouri's MO. Awesome. Listen, the Facebook thing, we're going to be out of there because they don't like what we have to say. And they hit us like on, when I play clips, right? They'll silence it. And so you guys can't find the show. Plus, the biggest thing that I don't like about Facebook is that the shows don't stay. So whatever you make, any creator out there, whatever you make, your library does not stay. There's no archive. It stays for 30 days, 4 weeks, and then they automatically delete everything. So the last show you're going to see from us is 4 weeks ago, and then they keep dropping them off. Okay, so that's not good for growth for anything. And of course, Facebook is not the platform for this. I guess.
I'm not surprised. I mean, Facebook has not been a friend of free speech at all. I mean, putting people in Facebook jail for speaking up during COVID or anything else. So, are we surprised that that we're not their cup of tea? No, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I'm not either, man. I'm not either. So so anyway, it's been good having you guys on Facebook, but look, I'm not going to kill the channel. The channel will still be there. You'll still see the reels of me saying, the what's coming up tonight, tonight's show is all that stuff. I'm still going to have all the stuff. Everything's going to stay. We'll have, posts and all that stuff. So you don't have to get rid of the channel on Facebook. We just won't be broadcasting there. We're going to bring BitChute back because BitChute has been good for us. We had a nice, cozy little following over there. But I'm just going to start pointing you guys that way. So just to be safe, because too many normie sites, they just don't like the dangerous stuff. So we'll just get rid of that. So World Regal 1 says music copyright is an issue on Facebook. You know what? The issue we ran on last week is I played 2 clips from some old NBC news thing. And there was like 8 seconds of some new NBC broadcaster saying something. I got dinged for that, Outcast. They were like, nope, you can't do that. It's like, all right then. That's what we're doing. So let's see here. We have upcoming guests. I talked to one of them tonight. And like I said a few shows ago, I'm going deep with some guests. I'm all over the map, Outcast, everywhere. We did really good ending last year with a whole bunch of guests that we've never had on and some strong returning guests and everything. So, but coming up this month, we have Carla Wagner's coming back. She's running for governor. She's all about getting rid of the property tax. Axe my tax. So she's coming back. We also have, I'm going to leave these unnamed until everything is ready to go and set up. So a home care mom, she does heavy lifting. Weights and exercise is what I'm talking about. She has a deep understanding of very dark, evil things in this world, but she's also a lover of Jesus, Outcast, is what I'm saying. So she's a good one. I think you know who I'm talking about. If not, we'll talk later. But the first week of February, we have a homesteader / firefighter guy. Now he's got a huge channel on YouTube. And he's a very hands-on, skilled guy. We're going to be getting back into our skills and hands-on skills and all that stuff coming up this year again. Survival prep. We're going to add a lot more stuff for firearms and safety and patrol. All these things. That's what I'm saying. So I hope you like that, you guys. I hope you like that, Outcast. I think you're going to enjoy this stuff. So. That's enough for me for 1 second until you bring something up. What's up?
No, I'm good. Guns are good. I like guns.
Oh yeah. Yep. I used one today. I had to use one today.
You said you shot a hawk.
No. I had to protect my flock is what I'm saying. My birds. And I lost one bird tonight, just before the show started. And so I had to get out there and protect the flock and, it's very annoying, but that's what it is when you're out there and you're wrangling chickens is what I'm saying. So it is what it is. Like you said,
everything eats chicken and chickens eat everything.
That's right. It goes back and forth. So listen, we've talked about merchandise for quite a while, you guys. Okay. Well, today we have some mock-ups for you to look at. Now, Outcast, do you want to, while I'm pulling this up, give us a little bit of brief overview of our thoughts and what we're doing here with these mock-ups and the merch that we have coming first.
So we kind of are hatching a scheme. It's not a scheme, just something to make subscribing to the show a little bit more enticing. So I know personally when, I renew my subscription to the NRA, I'll get a hat or something, when I do that. So we want to do something similar for you guys. It makes it a little bit more fun to support something. This is a product that's being made by a family member of mine. For his anonymity, I'll just say it's my nephew, and I won't go any further than that. But he's a brilliant guy. He's an engineer for NASCAR, but he does this as a side hustle. And he makes beautiful tumblers and cups. So we haven't come up with the exact dollar amount yet, but what we're going to do is we're going to say if you do X amount of dollars per month, you'll get a mug. If you increase it to a certain amount, then you'll get maybe a mug and a hat, or maybe a mug and a hoodie or something. So we're going to make it kind of like sweeten the pot a little bit. So it's fun to support us, but you're also going to get some swag to wear. I hope you guys like that approach. Jesse and I seem to think it might be a really fun way to go forward with this merch.
Yeah.
Is that a good intro?
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. As you're going, I see behind me on the VCR screen, you got to see the TV. Terminator, the original Terminator is playing tonight. So that's what we got going on in the VCR. All right, so listen, let's go to the first one. This is a mock-up. He did a mock-up on the road for us, Outcast.
He's traveling.
Check this out, you guys. Here is the first iteration version of our merch mug. Here's the first one. Look at that. Explain to the people what we're looking at. It's a black coffee mug, but go ahead.
It's metal, and that is actually like laser etched in. So it's not like a silk screen with like white ink on a black mug. It's actually a metal mug, and that's the silver shining through as it gets laser etched off. Is that what you want me to say?
Yeah, yep, for sure. So it's black all the way around with our logo in the front there, and then with the silver mug. Yeah, perfect. So that's one iteration. Let me see. Let's go to another. Another one is this one. Look at that green one, Outcast. Now that is a tall tumbler that you would take with you along the way, and our logo is going to be etched in that. We're going to have so many different colors available, so many different iterations. You guys might like a name branded one. You might like a Stanley. You might like a what's the other one? All of them out there, but you might want one that's unnamed, unbranded, right? With our brand on it instead. So we're going to have possibilities. Go ahead.
No, yeah. And what a great way to, as a conversation starter, you're hanging around the bonfire with your friends, or you're in at the PTA meeting and people are like, dangerous info. What's that about?
Yeah.
It gets the ball rolling, and you can start talking, you can start red pilling them.
I like what you said about, conversation starter, because that is a great conversation starter. Now you can see that, this is Army Green, and the final product ones, when these come up, they're going to say blessed in the battle, because that's our tagline, and that's going to be in there. I talked to him about that. He's going to be adding that. So we'll have another one to look at. And, here is the final one mock up for today. Check that out. A black one, another black one, but this is again, a tall one that you would take with you somewhere with the lid that closes up. So listen, these are just, we're just getting our feet wet in this merch stuff. And I think this is a good way to go. So we're going to keep you guys informed on our Instagram channel, Dangerous Info Podcast. And we'll keep talking about it on the show here. But I think it's very exciting, right? Mrs. Joyful, who is this? Joyful 41 says, my dog, Mr. Wonderful, doesn't use coffee, right? Well, look, you can put a little bit of water in for that boy, and you can walk around with it. He'll drink out of a dangerous cup. Let me see. She says, Taylor Smith says, wake up. I need to literally wake up. I was dozing right before the show. Stand up. That's what I'm saying. Stand up and watch the show. Do a couple toe touches, maybe, some leg kicks, whatever.
Some lunges.
These Where We Go One says, you're old school for sure. Yes. Talking about my VCR tapes back here. Look, people are out there looking for old tech, right? From the 80s and 90s. They're out there actively looking to buy old tech. Guess what? I never got rid of mine. It's still here. So I'm not looking. It's all here. It's all in this room. My old tech, I just dust it off and throw it back out on the screen. So,
my Sony 5-disc changer died right before Christmas, and I just found another one at a resale shop that's
nice.
like
excellent.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was hunting that stuff down. I love it.
I got a million DVDs too, man. It's crazy, but I like it. Ms. Melody says we need a fanny pack. Listen, tactical fanny pack is what we're talking about. All this stuff. So different colors. We're going to have pink stuff. We're going to have black stuff. I talked to him about camo stuff because I like camouflage with orange, the high-vis orange, hunter orange. He hasn't come up with any of that yet, but I think he's going to source it now because he hasn't been asked about that color yet. So, we're going to do that stuff. So, listen, I'm excited for all that. And you guys, once our guest is watching, I'm not sure if he's ready to come on yet, but I want to get him on here in just a second. But, Where We Go One says, no gay fanny packs, only tactical ones. Well, that's what I'm saying. Tactical ones. Yeah, they can be pink, but they're tactical. All right. They'll be all kinds of
if you're going to go tactical, we need to make Dangerous Info Velcro patches that you can put on your gear.
Well, that is a good idea. We also have leather ones available. So we will, because the same guy, he makes leather stuff. So he engraves in leather. He already told me about that. So we can put them on hats and factory jackets and bags, and we can do Velcro stuff and all these things. So listen, Outcast, we have a guest. He's already joining right now. And I just want to get him involved a little bit before we officially bring him in. But you guys, Dr. Sean Brooks is in the house tonight. Dr. Sean Brooks, do you want to weigh in on any of the stuff we've been going on about here? How you doing, brother?
I'm great. First of all, thanks for having me and sharing your audience as always. I just thought of this. Just in case anybody's curious, we did not coordinate our flannel shirts tonight.
Awesome.
Total accident. I promise.
Awesome.
We didn't call each other.
Yeah, I think
totally accidental.
I think I said on a day, a show or something, maybe last week, I can't remember. It may be the Thursday show, but my flannel game in the closet is strong, you guys. I challenge both of you to beat my flannel game. I've got way too many, is what I'm saying. But they're comfy, cozy, and they got the collar and the buttons. Get out. What's going on, Dr. Sean? Yeah, look at that, Outcast. Look at his.
Well, you're Michigan winners. I remember I texted you guys, I think, a year ago. Maybe it was last spring. And I said, does your winner ever end up there? And you went,
that's
no.
right. Yeah, we had
all the time. That's it.
Yeah, we had a 51 degree day the other day, Saturday, and then we got 3 inches of snow on Sunday. Yes, yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
It's
you
fun.
wonder why everybody's sick all the time up here because their body can't figure out what to do.
Yeah,
can't figure out how to dress.
Yeah, lack of vitamin D will throw a body in craziness. So, Outcast.
Did it snow in May? Last year?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think it did. I don't know if we had to plow snow or not. I'm a snow plow truck driver, but I don't know if we did. But in Boston, we are flannel strong. Yes, awesome. East Coast flannels. Flannels are the best. I wear them even in Texas. Yeah. Well, I challenge all you guys to a flannel fest. All right, I'll bring them out. I know where to get them, and I know where to get some cheap, and I know where. It's crazy. I was looking at these Pendleton ones, these ones from the 70s. I can get them, but they're way expensive, but they're so awesome. I might have to save up. I don't know if I'll ever get one. But do you know what a Pendleton flannel is, you guys? Sean, do you? I know Outcast.
I'm sure my dad had them when we were in Texas back in the day.
Probably, yeah.
I'd be guessing, but.
They are a West Coast made in Oregon, I believe, and the loggers
Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, Pacific.
Oh, really?
These things are awesome. Yeah, all 100% wool, I believe, all made in America. Great shirts. So flannel game.
I've got a vintage one. Looks like a shirt jacket that I got at a resale shop, Jesse, and then I've got a vintage Pendleton Westerly sweater. Have you ever seen those? It's kind of what
the
Big
with
Lebowski
snaps,
wore.
the pearl snaps.
Nope. It's a shawl neck cardigan that's got like Southwest stitched in it. They're 100% wool. This thing is so warm. I mean, I can barely wear it even in the winter because I'll sweat to death in it. But Big Lebowski, he's wearing a Pendleton Westerly. They come in different colors, but I have one.
Yeah,
awesome. I scored a vintage one. Yeah, but they're expensive. Yeah. Like even the used ones are crazy expensive.
Yep. So that's where we're at, Sean. We're all over the place. Merch. Oregon. Oregon right there. Pendleton wool from Oregon. Yep. We talked about the merch. We have that coming up. I know you sell merch on your store too. So we're just excited to get in the merch game too.
Nice.
So,
Very cool.
Tonight we're going to officially bring you in after the proper introduction and all that stuff after we do a prayer from Outcast. But I just wanted to get you in on the fun here as the show is opening up. We're moving away from Facebook. I don't think you've ever been on there. We were on there just to kind of, stir the pot in Normanville, but it's going good as far as our viewership, but Facebook is not the place to host archival shows, right? It doesn't do it that way. Like Rumble. Yeah. Rumble holds all of our stuff for years. You get 30 days on a Facebook deal. So it's not a good place for live platforming and doing all this. Any thoughts on that?
The only time I've been on it, and it was the first time I was ever on it, was approximately a year ago. And it was after some school board stuff kind of blew up here. May have even spoken about it on your show back then. But it had to do with, well, now I'm drawing a blank. It had to do with, I was basically telling parents what they should do regarding filing complaints against educators' licenses and superintendents' licenses. And that's all I did. I just gave them the bullet pointed step-by-step with the links and the whole thing. And they went, get him out of here. And then they canceled my account. They called it fraudulent. And then I got back on, and then I said the same thing again, and then they kicked me off again. And I said, well,
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah. It's way too normy for any of this stuff. So I just thought it was fun because there are people that like to watch us there. But again, if it doesn't store as archival for us, and people can't go back to look, the efforts there are fruitless is what I'm saying. So, because we want things to stay evergreen and for people to find us years in advance or years down the road. So, with all these other platforms, pill.net, YouTube, Rumble, BitChute. I like BitChute. It's a good platform. Clout Hub. That's another one. But, to add all these other things, we do 5 right now, all at the same time. This is going up to 5 spots right now. Our distributor changes from time to time. Sometimes we had 6. Sometimes, they tried pulling 3 on us once, and I stopped. I said, look, you guys, come on. So we're back to 5. So we're going to be changing all that. I want to get up. It'd be nice to get to 10 if this computer can handle it. That's what I'm saying. But Outcast, I think we're at the point of the show where we got to get a prayer in from you, a little bit of coverage, and then we're going to do a proper introduction for our guest tonight. Sean, we're going to put you in the timeout room and then do a prayer, and we'll be back with you on the other side.
Very good.
Dear Heavenly Father, Adonai, El Shaddai, Elohim, Jehovah Rapha, Lord, we pray to you in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and our Savior. Lord, we can do nothing without you, but we can do everything with you. And we thank you for being just so closely involved with Jesse and I as we've been working on this show for the last several years. We invited you in, and you have moved powerfully, and you have revealed much to us, and you have used us to reveal much to our listeners. And we cannot thank you enough for letting us be part of this process and giving our lives purpose. We're not just out here just trying to make a living and just trying to get by. We're actually involved with ministry and sharing information. I don't believe there's anywhere in the Bible that we are supposed to stick our head in the sand and not know things. I think you want us to be acutely aware and keen to what's happening around us so that we can be vigilant as the end of days approach. And we just want to help other people do that, Lord. So continue to work in us and to us and through us and into the lives of our listeners, Lord. May they find just even the smallest nugget of information that you want them to know, that they can test and approve with you in prayer, and that they can apply to their life if it has value, and they can write it on the tablet of their heart so they can use it to convey to other people out there in the world. Lord, we thank you for just every provision that we could ever imagine. You have been there in the minutia of our lives, things that we probably even take for granted, and things that we don't even know that you've done for us. But there are the big things, Lord, and every day you have provided us with food and clothing and shelter, heat, electricity, and water to drink and bathe in. These things are luxuries in some parts of the world. In fact, Lord, we have Christian brothers and sisters around the world under persecution, and these basic things may be elusive to them. And we're praying, Lord, collectively as a body of Christ for our brothers and sisters, that you will provide for them in those every little subtlety in their lives, and that they will know it is from you, like manna from heaven, that they will understand that you are coming through in a pinch and that you are providing for them. But Lord, we pray even more so than that their faith is so dialed in and so close to you that they are content under all circumstances. Just like Paul said in the Bible, he's had plenty and he's had nothing, and yet he's learned to be content in all things. So despite whatever their situations are under persecution, we pray that you'll give them that contentment and that peace. But we're asking that you send out your angels regarding them, and you put a hedge of protection around them that the enemy's never seen before, and that you soften the hearts of their oppressors so that they will stop persecuting them, and they'll be brought to their knees in repentance and be grafted into the family and become as ardently for you as they once were against you. Just like Saul, who was a persecutor of the church, became Paul, one of the greatest advocates for Jesus Christ in the New Testament. We want to see that transformation for anyone out there who may be questioning or church hurt. They're blaming you for a bad experience at a church. Lord, may they understand in the depths of their heart that you want relationship with them, not religiosity, that they don't need to be in a building. It's nice to be in a building with other believers to be strengthened, and we do encourage that, but that they don't need a building to be close to you. Help them to understand that just because one church hurt them, all churches won't do the same thing. It's like, buying a pair of jeans and thinking that you just tried on one pair and you decide that didn't fit, so jeans aren't for you. That doesn't make any sense. So if there's anybody out there who's struggling with this type of rejection or church hurt, may they just press in again and just keep looking for that needle in a haystack, for that church that suits them, so they can have contact with other believers and grow their faith and sharpen their faith. But if somebody is isolated and they don't have that option, may they feel that experience here with us, Lord. Lord, we cannot thank you enough for our friend, Dr. Sean Brooks. Lord, you have anointed his mind and his thinking and his articulation. Jesse and I are just, we're just in awe of his intellect and what he brings to the table to think about. We've appreciated him from the start, and we're so blessed and fortunate that he appreciates us back. Lord, thank you for putting us together with this extended family of people. Even those listeners out there that we don't interact with on that level, like they're not a guest on the show, we thank you for every one of them. Every encouraging note, every encouragement that we get through a text or an email or on Instagram, thank you for every single one of those people, Lord. We thank you for giving us encouragers in the people that listen to this show. Lord, we want you to enter into this podcast with us, guide our thinking, anoint our thinking, appoint our steps, and help us to just bring things to light that our listeners haven't thought of before, so that they can approve it again to you and pray and test the Spirit against it. And then if it has value, Lord, may they just take it out into the world and help other people see what we see, so we can rescue those in darkness out of their darkness and into the light with us. Lord, we pray for anybody out there who's struggling with anything, Lord. There's people struggling with job loss and depression and anxiety, people who have deep, deep soul wounds, so deep that they don't even know that they're there. They've buried them up. They've calloused their heart, and they've tried to ignore the fact that somebody in their past has hurt them with their words or their actions, and it's festering. It's like an infection deep in their heart, Lord. We're hoping that they will just surrender their heart to Jesus, allow him in to search out the deepest crevices of their innermost being, to find those soul wounds and heal them, so they can be set free from their bitterness, their anger, their resentment, their hatred, their unforgiveness. For these are all footholds for the devil, Lord. And we don't want anybody left behind. We want everybody to be freed from these demons that are seeking to trip up our walk with you and make us think about the past and not where we are in the future with you. Lord, if anybody out there is in a state of long suffering, they've been waiting for a prayer to be answered of some sort, Lord, we pray that you'll give them the strength and the courage to persevere, and that you will build up their character in the process, but they will be patient. For when there's pain in the night, we know that joy comes in the morning. Help them to be patient and wait for that morning sunrise, where they know that you're acknowledging what they've been through and you're giving them a breakthrough. So, Lord, we're asking for breakthrough on this podcast, breakthrough in the lives of our listeners, breakthrough in the world. We're tired of seeing this broken system abuse people and gaslight us. We want to be free of that. We want to think clearly. We want to be free, and we want other people to be free as well. We love you, Lord. We love our listeners. We love that you move within us and through us and to us. And we pray for everyone out there who's in any situation like that they need that encouragement right now. I pray all these things in Jesus Christ's holy and precious name. Amen.
Amen, brother. Thank you so much. As always, nice, sharp, focused, and resilient. I like it. You're keeping us strong out there, Outcast, with that stuff. I love the prayers. Listen, you guys, why don't we go over there, take a break? And on the other side, we have this hilarious breakdown here, and we're going to get into some really deep stuff with Dr. Sean. Outcast, it's crazy. You saw the text that we were sharing earlier today. It's going to get nuts. So hold on tight, you guys. We'll be right back. This is the Dangerous Info Podcast.
Meet S-Dog and T-Bird. They both run with a gang in their hometown. S-Dog says you need a gun so that the others know who is boss. S-Dog is 13 years old. T-Bird has been carrying a gun since she was 10. She says you got to bust them before they bust you. T-Bird is only 14 years old.
When your identity is your ideology, congratulations, you've officially screwed yourself, because now it's not just an idea, now it's you. And when the idea gets challenged, you don't hear disagreement, you hear an attack. So what do? You build a bubble. A nice, soft, padded little bubble where everyone agrees with you, uses the same words, hates the same people, and claps at the exact right moments. And you will defend that bubble at all costs, even if it makes you sound incredibly stupid. Facts don't matter anymore. Logic's gone. Humor? dead. Because admitting you're wrong would mean admitting you are wrong, and that's unacceptable. So you double down, louder, angrier, dumber. And that's how you end up defending nonsense like it's sacred scripture. Not because it's true, but because without it, you'd have to actually develop a personality.
All right, you guys, tonight we have Dr. Sean Brooks back on the show again. He's going to talk about his latest Substack articles concerning questionable campaign donations to a local school board member. And do you think there's any connections between the CIA and school boards? Well, listen, you're going to be amazed at what he talks about. Listen, he has his Substack. Sean's Substack is down there. I put the link on there. He is a former public school teacher and adjunct university professor of teacher education. Dr. Sean Brooks is the author of several books. You guys got to get him on corruption within the American education system. He's the host of the podcast American Education FM. Listen, his new book that we're going to be talking about, you see the picture right there, I'm a Conspiracy Theorist. It's a children's book about a boy named Sean and his dog May. They travel all around the United States, critically thinking about historic locations, past and current events through history, while learning important lessons about asking questions, critically thinking, and conducting investigations to arrive at their own conclusions about the world we live in. Yes, it's funny for adults too, you guys. That link is right there. I want you guys to go check that out. And also his website, AmericanEducationFM.com. Go check that out. Dr. Sean, welcome back to the show. Listen, you have a lot of stuff there, and I want people to go check it out at your website and your Substack. Very important. Welcome to the show, brother.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Great prayer, too.
Oh,
I can't. Every time you do that, I find myself just thinking of endless things all at once, and it's overwhelming. But that was well done.
I appreciate that. You know, I say it all the time. I pray before I pray, and I ask God to use me, and I tell him, forgive me if there's any pride in me. This is not about me. I just want to draw people into communication with you and teach them how to pray if they don't know how to, and encourage them. So when you give me feedback like that, Sean, it means a lot because, you know, Jesse and I think the world of you. So I appreciate that very much.
Likewise, right back at you.
Yeah. So he's, well, go ahead. I was going to ask you about the book, the brand new book.
Just real quick about that book, because I'm okay. Not one to peddle books or anything, but that book was funny the way that it came about. I always thought to myself that I could put together a children's book because I know how to put them together and independently publish them on my own. I know how to format them and do all that stuff because I've learned since whenever it was 2014, I think was the first time I wrote one. And I woke up one morning in the middle of whenever that was, December. And I was just overwhelmed with it. It was just do it now. You have the idea. You're tired of people using the term conspiracy theorist as a derogatory term. They don't know what it means. They don't even bother looking up the definition of the word conspiracy, let alone theorist. So why don't you put some QR codes at the end of the book, make it funny with you and your dog going around and you know, mocking particular things, but showing concern about particular things, but also, you know, something that would bring a smile to an adult's face. So that's why I did it. It took me about 3 days. And I got on ChatGPT and I said, I want to make a children's book. And of course they were like, great, this is a great idea. I was like, well, you don't know what it's about. So cool out. And I'll tell you, to be honest, the oddest part about it for me was, of course, you're having a conversation with the robot, which is something I swore I'd never do. And yet there I was doing it. But I was the one that wrote it. And I was the one that had the picture in my head. I just couldn't draw it. So I wrote the dialogue, and the dialogue by and large is all mine. Although the dialogue was more direct on some pages, and then it would give me a suggestion. And what it would do is it would say, well, as it turns out, that's a conspiracy theory. So you don't want to say something that would be a conspiracy theory because it would turn off your readers, in particular, be inappropriate for children. How about this? And then it gives you like 2 other suggestions, which were both fine, but mine was just more direct. I'll give you a quick example.
All right.
This page was funny to build because it didn't take very long. So I built a page about chemtrails.
Awesome. Look at that.
Do that correctly.
See that? I love it. Yeah. That's amazing.
That's so cool.
It's a chemtrail going over. I'm coughing and my dog's yelling at the plane and yelling at me.
Yeah.
So what it says is, and this was their suggestion. Mine was, I said to it, I said, draw me a picture of the character Sean, his dog May. Sean's coughing. His dog is yelling at the plane going over, and there are white lines coming out of the plane in a bright blue sky. That was the picture it developed. And I'm like, I can't draw that. That's perfect. That works. But my dialogue was, have the dog yelling, why is it that all these chemtrails show up on clear days and have a tendency to make people sick or something like that?
Yeah.
And that's where it was like, no, you can't do that because that's a conspiracy theory. And then I was like, well, isn't that funny? Because that's the title of the flipping book. So
that's awesome.
Then it gave me this suggestion, one of two. It said, on sunny days, the airplanes draw long white lines across the sky. Sean and May wondered what secrets the plane might be hiding today.
Wow.
I was like, that works. I'll go with that.
They might be those secrets might be cadmium, barium, and aluminum, among others.
Strontium.
Right.
Yeah, it could be some strontium,
right.
some quote unquote flu. Yeah, that's crazy.
You're having this conversation again with Chat GPT, which is not. I mean, I didn't want to do it, but I was trying to get it to format the file correctly, and then make sure that the text was accurate and everything else. And then you're having to learn how it communicates, and then you're having to say yes, no, or just do this, or just do that. And you're having to be, again, very direct and very simple without giving it this long, convoluted explanation of what you're trying to do. So I didn't like it. I mean, I was exhausted at the end of the day when I got done doing it, but it was funny to do. And again, I apologize. I'm not expecting to sell hardly any, but I didn't do it for money. I just did it as a joke. And like I said on my show, I did it kind of as a middle finger to Amazon and AI and the entire publishing system, because I was a part of that back in 2020 and 2021 when they were censoring everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, they were deleting my books on Amazon like nobody's business. And I thought, well, now that we've got a little power back here, why don't I just kind of, I don't know, flip the script a little bit on them and just say, you're going to publish this now because you don't have a choice, kind of thing. So yeah, watch now tomorrow it'll get deleted.
I think you have the potential to sell more than you think. I think it's brilliant. And I don't know. I want to buy one just to give to my buddy who's got a kid on the way.
Well, see, here's the problem. I hate the pricing. I'm just not a fan of the pricing.
Yeah, you can't control that, correct?
I can't. And because the book is as big as it is, and because it's full color, that's what jacks up the price. And then, of course, I wanted it hardback because when I was a kid, I remember reading Sherry Lewis's book as a little kid, and it had all these fables inside of it, and it was a substantial hardback.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I want a hardback. Now, what the funny part is it wouldn't allow me to make a Kindle. Now, why wouldn't it allow me to make a Kindle? I fought the system for a full day on just trying to make a $5, $6, $7 Kindle book, and it wouldn't let me do it. And it ultimately spit back the explanation. They're probably not letting you do it because of the content inside of the book.
Right.
And given the fact that it's for children, even though it's for adults and, anybody who has a sense of humor, it still didn't like it. So, yeah. So that, because they know that kids will look at a Kindle, they'll pick up a Kindle, a parent will pick up a Kindle, or whatever, and they'll download it on their tablet, and then they'll take a look at it, and then they can share it back and forth and whatever else. And they didn't want them to do that. So I thought, oh, okay, well,
listen,
that's too bad.
Amber Dawn says, wow, that is great. I wish I grew up with funny educational books rather than fake fantasy. Love this one. Also, I like seeing tech used for good. I will buy it for sure. And then Sister Rita, she says, but they won't delete the devil worshiping books, will they?
She's right.
They won't. That's right.
I'm going to order this. Around. Yeah, I'm going to order this. And Oh, this is
But it's
good,
funny
man.
because at the back,
at that artwork,
I mean, at the back, I've got QR codes and stuff. I mean, I went through basically every page, and I just said, you know, if somebody's got a cell phone or a tablet and they want to click on a QR code, it'll take them either to a quick clip of another adult explaining it or a full-blown documentary or whatever. I mean, you'd be surprised how many people don't know that Rumble and BitChute exist. So,
and honestly, Sean, I don't think these prices are too out of whack. They're great.
No,
I mean,
for $15
for people
I'm buying. I'll buy two of them.
For people who,
well,
who dig
they're a
this.
little out of whack for my taste, but you know, most of my books are whatever, $10, something like that. So either way, I didn't have a choice. That's as low as it'll go. Yeah. And I think I only get like 50 cents or $1 on it. So, I mean, that's Amazon doing what Amazon does, but
well, I want to add on to that. I want to add on to that. Music Lover says, I love that image for your book. That is a great image because you look at it, if you don't look at the title, it looks just like any typical little kid's children's book, right? That's awesome. All right, so
it was the morning before where somebody said something again about conspiracy theory, and I went to bed and I was just like, I can't stand people that say that. It drives me crazy. And then I woke up and it was like, write it, just do it. And that was actually the second cover that I came up with. The first one, it was me, that character, which is based off of my my kindergarten picture. So I had to upload that, and I'd be like, make the character kind of look like this.
Yeah.
And then it was a map of the United States behind me, and then it was different objects around the map. So down in Florida, there was a syringe. In Washington, D.C., it was the Capitol building. In Northern California, it was the owl from Bohemian Grove. I mean, I had the border wall down on Mexico.
That's great.
It was hilarious. It was hilarious putting it together because I'm saying to myself, if it makes me laugh, that's good enough. If it makes somebody else laugh, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna dig this. Yeah. I have two kids in mind. I'm gonna give it to my cousin's kids. Sister Rita, she says, I will order two as well. Do you go to the Amazon or how can I locate the link? Yeah, you can type in I'm a conspiracy theorist and it just pops up in Amazon. But I also put a link down here at the show. So you can just click the link and it'll take you right to it. That's great, man. I like it. This is good.
I'm going to warn some people, though, depending on how much they know or don't know. It's, there's a couple of pages on there that might throw them a little bit, but that's why the QR codes are in the back, to expand their thinking a little bit. So again, I built it as a joke. It's not for everybody, clearly, but it's
having those codes. Outcast, is very important to have those kinds of codes because you are going to be able to, or the reader, we're going to be like, there's no way that's true. And then you're going to go to that code and it's going to pull up a bunch of articles that are out there in support of this cartoon that he's talking about. It's going to get people. I like it.
That's awesome.
There is also, so you were talking about the controlling of the price, that you don't have control of it. Well, books that are out there, Sean, you probably know about this. Books out there that are highly researched and highly go against this whole mainstream stuff, just like you were talking about. If Amazon doesn't like it, but yet it's already in their library, they'll price those books at like $9,000. Something that's just completely like out of bounds. And again, the author has no say over that. I've listened to a few authors have these great books, and some of these books are right behind me. But now on Amazon, they might be worth or cost you $9,000 to get. Why do you think that is, Outcast? And it's full of so much information, and it costs $9,000. Why?
It's obvious they don't want us to know. They don't want us to know. They don't want us to have any Rosetta Stones to figure out what was actually going on in this world that we live in. They want us left in the dark and like a mushroom and eating crap. That's what, right? So they're gonna bury anything like that. They don't want you to know because that's gonna foil their plans. They have big plans for us, and they're not good for us. It's good for them, but they love their censorship. They love it, which is funny because they're the first ones to scream censorship if you fight back on anything they have to say. I don't know. I'm beating a dead horse. You guys know this. Yeah.
Well, good luck on that book, Sean. Like I said, you're going to have a few extra sales here soon. Right there. Russ Dizdar. His books are listed at $9,000, and he's one of the ones I was talking about. Russ Dizdar. Yeah.
There you go.
All of a sudden, those books are $9,000. Before, you can buy them for, at the most $25,000, right? But stuff like that, there's too much truth out there, and they can't control it all. So they're going to put, funnels on it. But anyway, listen, go check his book out, you guys. Go buy it. It's going to be fun. Put it in your library. Give it to a young kid in your life, and some adults that need to wake up quick. Easy way.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah, it was fun.
So here's what my thoughts are right now. Our media has been just consumed with what's going on in Minnesota. All right, you can argue back and forth all day long about this stuff right now. They're trying to make it George Floyd 2.0. I don't think it's going to work. But the media, the establishment, everything is focusing all their attention on it. Guess who hasn't been paying much attention to that crap? I haven't. I'll see it come up because it's inevitable. When you open up any social media, it's there in your face, boom. But guess what? I scroll right on by it. I'm watching fishing videos and all this stuff, and it's not hitting me. In probably because I'm sick of being hit like that, right? But it is kind of tearing up the left, and so my question for both of you guys. We know that media likes to, an establishment, everything, education, news, sport, all that stuff. Sport is actually getting, did you see the NBA and Minnesota Timberwolves and all the shenanigans they pulled the other night with their blue hair and all? It's crazy for this Renee Good character. Wow. Yeah, it's nuts. Angela, what's going on? She says, same. I'm scrolling right past that garbage. Yes, amen, sister. But so this could be considered a distraction psyop. Continues, all right? They want us looking at that while something else is going on. That's always there. That's always going to happen. And yes, there are big, giant things that are going on. Big moves are being made, good and bad, okay? It's just a wild time right here in 2026 to be alive. Again, to look at all these things that are happening and just to take it all, sit back, 30,000-foot view, enjoying your coffee and your flannel, and just watch the madness unfold in front of these screens. It's amazing to me to now go through this again, but I'm not letting it suck me in. It's just I'm just observing and watching. What about you guys? Sean, what do you think?
I mean, there's a lot of other things that are, of course, taking place that are of major consequence. There is a grand jury that was impaneled in Florida, I believe today, if I'm not mistaken, having to do with John Brennan and other individuals related to the Russia lie and the FBI and the Trump hoax and all that stuff, the election fraud and, trying to overthrow a duly elected president. That's a big deal, and that's not going away. Yeah. And I would say that if people think that Donald Trump is the kind of person who's going to let this slide, I think they have another thing coming, because I don't think that the military that is in charge now is going to let this slide. And again, I think that excellent things are around the corner here. And I think that they're, of course, happening now, and they've happened already in the past. And a lot of the people now are just being shown it for the first time, even though it might be 5 years old.
Are you talking about Maduro stuff, Venezuela stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would even go so far as to say some of the Iranian stuff that you're hearing now.
Yeah.
And I would even take it so far because, of course, they were mentioned in Q drops back in the day too, for what that's worth, and I think it's worth a great deal. But people knew that was going to be a stronghold also, because that's been a deep state playground for a long time too, with a lot of influence from a lot of intelligence agencies, Mossad, CIA, you can pick one, MI6, all of them, certainly the Five Eyes, so to speak, and controlling the people who live there, and then using those people as the figurehead to basically say, well, this is the person who's in charge, and you might not like them, but unbeknownst to you, we're really the people in charge, and we control him, and if he or him, and if they step out of line, then we're going to replace them with somebody else, and you may or may not know it, unless, of course, we intervened already.
Right.
And that's kind of one of the very, I would say, substantiated beyond theories that's taking place right now, is that the good guys are in control for a great deal of things that are taking place. A lot of things have happened in the past that are just now being shown and explained to people now. And people are living sort of on different timelines, if that makes any sense. But certainly, again, you look at like a liberal response to what goes on in Minnesota, and those individuals that would have candlelight vigils for a person they've never even known nor met, and they don't even look into her past, this Renee Good gal, and her criminal past and her illegality and whatever else. Those people are living immediately. So much so that if something changes on the television, then they, of course, emotionally react to that, which is what George Carlin said there in that clip you played. Same thing.
Changing out the memory chip in the NPC head. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Outcast, what do you think about that? There's so much going on. It's a revolving door of chaos, brother.
I don't know what I can contribute here. You guys are covering it so well, but I'm just kind of in awe of how this, I mean, it goes without saying for most people, but I got to say it anyways. You look at how Black Lives Matter, George Floyd riots hit America right at the time that when Trump was getting a foothold, in his first term, right? And the way this is tailor made, it fits right in perfectly. It's uncanny, and it just seems like don't people get tired of watching the same rerun? This is just like we're on a Matrix loop, and nothing ever changes, and it's like it's the same thing, and the same people that are stuck in the blue timeline, they're more than happy to repeat their rage on a new topic every week. And, and just like that overnight, liberals care about white women. I thought they didn't really like white women, and now they care suddenly.
Yeah.
There's just all these things. I'm just like, here's the deal. I'm just rambling, you guys, so forgive me, but I have my concerns about Trump too. I voted for him 3 times. There's things I see that I don't like. I respect Sean's viewpoint too, from the kind of the Q vantage point, I'm respectful of everybody's viewpoint. I got my eyes wide open. I'm just trying to figure it all out as I go. But that being said, whenever a liberal expresses their disdain for Trump, I can't get behind it because I know that there's nothing there. It's not like, well, you'll never hear a liberal say, well, I'm a little concerned about this Palantir thing and Peter Thiel. They don't say stuff like that, or they don't say, hey, why is Trump saying that this is about drugs in Venezuela when we know that the 3-letter agencies were importing drugs this whole time? That I call BS. That's kind of like gaslighting me. They don't say thoughtful things. It's just like this blind hatred, and that's why I know. I mean, a while ago there was a No Kings protest in my neighborhood that I accidentally walked into the middle of because I had to go to last year. It was a year ago when I went to my tax person, and I was like, oh great, I'm right in the middle of it. And I tried to read their signs, and I'm telling you, the signs were incoherent and gibberish. I felt like I was like in some kind of time warp. I was like, what are you even trying to say? What is this? And that's what gets me about this. I mean, it's what gets me up the whole thing, and that adds to the cartoon with the NPC thing too. I'm watching that, going, yeah, that's exactly how they are. What am I outraged about today? And listen, I'm willing to listen to arguments from different pundits who say, hey, that guy overreacted. He shouldn't have shot. There's different. I'm not saying that's my viewpoint. I'm not saying I'm just saying I'm open to it. But what we're lacking here is this due process where an investigation takes place and then we wait to respond. Right? Back in my day, we saw before anybody rioted for Rodney King, it was the verdict came back in a way that they didn't like. Right?
Yes.
Nobody's investigated anything. And now we're going to go ballistic and freak out in the streets. So this stuff just seems so disingenuous, so fabricated. And once again, we're finding out that some of these pictures of these crowds are old pictures. It's not even the same event.
Yep.
There's that too.
We need rooftop Koreans is what we need. That's what we need right now. Yep. It's crazy.
I don't know, guys. I hope I contributed something there. I'm just thinking out loud, but this whole thing makes me bonkers. I got to tune it out or I'm going to crack. I can't anymore.
I feel you, brother. Yeah. How about you, Sean?
Accidentally wandering into a No Kings rally. I'm sorry. It just tickles
Sean,
me. It's
that's funny.
You must have been looking around like, where the hell am I? What is going on?
Well, my first thought was, did I wander into a Subaru convention? I'm just kidding. Apologies to Biffermac. My brother Biffermac, he drives a Subaru. Sorry, Biffer. He's the exception to the rule. He doesn't think like that. But the other thing, Sean, about that when I wandered into that was just, I don't know. To me, I have a weird sense of humor. It cracked me up. I saw a couple older gals walking around with their pink knitted hats. Remember the pink vagina hats from and they're walking around with those on, and I'm like, oh, check it out. They're wearing that as a badge of honor. It's like, I'm a veteran of foreign wars. I went to DC. for the pink hat riot, right?
Yeah.
They're walking around with their boss with their hats on like a boss. I'm like, I see how
that's crazy. The final boss.
And all the white people with their adventure gear. You got all the nothing against Patagonia, but they got Patagonia jackets on, and they're, what I'm saying? I mean, and they're all like, I support the current thing.
That's what it is. Yeah. I support the current thing. Oh man, it's a deep program that's been going on. You guys have seen it. We've talked about it so many shows. It's wild how the media can actually control that stuff. In the opening, did you guys obviously the opening thing that I played about the 2016 gun murder stuff, murder by police stuff, right? Remember how? Well, it's beyond, but the FBI numbers that showed the quote reality at the time, that year of 2016, versus what the media just talks about. It completely separates reality from the fiction that everybody's believing. All right. It's just that opening scene with that professor showing the stats to those students and their minds just blown, because it doesn't look like anything the media showed them just the day before. It's wild. But anyway,
on that note, Jesse, as a Christian, I want to say that, if anybody's being shot that didn't deserve to be shot by police, yes, that's terrible.
Yeah.
But what the media is doing is they inflate statistics to fit a narrative. It's not only is it dishonest, but it's putting people into a rage that's not even warranted. If we just were given the actual facts and let people make their decisions as they go, I mean, I have a hunch that we are a completely peaceful and lovable congregation of unique individuals on this planet, and we're totally capable of getting along. They are the ones shaking the jar of ants. It's not, and the fact that anybody still watches their news is just beyond me why they would do this. But
yep,
I'm just thinking out loud here. I don't know. I mean,
the people too at a lot of these gatherings, to just piggyback on that, the people at a lot of these gatherings, I think they've always just lacked any powers of perception. They don't observe anything. They observe, again, to even jump on what Carlin was saying in that clip, they observe to look for agreement. They don't observe to pay attention to whether or not they're right. Case in point, you look at a lot of these liberal candlelight vigils, protests, whatever. There are very few Black Americans, very few, if any, Hispanic Americans. Certainly in the liberal college town where I live, they aren't around. It's old white hippies and it's lonely women. And they're white. And that's it. Yeah. And there's less of them than there was in 2020. But they're not looking around and going, well, why are there less people here? They're not even thinking about that. They're not saying, wait a minute, I live in a town of 27,000 people. Why are there only 24 of us tops here? They don't even do that math. It's because the majority of the people don't agree with you. So, it's, and I understand their argument too. They would say things like, well, that's not true because we own city council and we own the school board and our candidates always win. And it's like, well, we don't like government, which is why we don't run for those positions.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't think the position has to exist. So that's our argument, but it just becomes this back and forth of whether or not you can actually communicate with these people. And I don't think you can, because some of these people cannot be held.
I mean, we cannot, I got to say it. We cannot underscore enough how insidious the media has become. It was meant to be there for us to have the information so we can make our own decisions. But now they're in the business of shaping decisions. And what the media has also done, Sean, you just made me think of this too. Anybody that's a good candidate, somebody that would really care to help, what do they do to them? They give them this rectal exam and they try to air all their dirty laundry and try to destroy them until they just give up and say, why would I subject myself to this? So now we're like pushing actually good candidates out because of the way the media treats them. We're given bad information because the way the media presents it. It is a disservice all the way across the board. Now, somebody liberal would say, "Oh, you want to abolish the media? You're a Nazi." I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying that the media has left their what they were supposed to do. It's kind of like doctors were supposed to take a an oath that they would do no harm. Well, now I don't think that oath means anything to them. They're more than happy to prescribe whatever Big Pharma tells them to prescribe. And the media will report whatever BlackRock tells them to report on. None of these things are working in the capacity of what they were intended to do. I'm sorry if that's redundant, but it just makes me nuts. And that's why we have all these societal ailments and why everybody's at each other's throat. But the thing is this, I know we're waking up because they have to increase the intensity and the amount and the frequency of these psychological operations, right? It doesn't work like it used to. And they know it. So they got to just keep amping it up. It's going to get so cartoonish at some point. You're either going to snap out of it or you're going to go down in flames with them. You can't, like I said, it's like two realities running simultaneously. Sorry. I'm all over the place, you guys. I'm tired.
No, it makes sense. Yeah, spellcasters, newscasters, tomato, right? Same thing.
Yeah.
Good one, Wenjo. So, all right, down where you live, Sean, there's a couple things that we need to talk about. Your school board members, you're also Vivek Ramaswamy. The last time people have heard his name was probably running for president, and that whole fiasco. All you have to do is dig a little deeper, and I did that back in the day when he was running for president, to find out who his mom is, find out who the connections are, find out what took place, and find out that, wow, media, even conservative, quote, conservative media, they won't even bring that stuff up. And yet he's down there now running for your governor, I believe, in Ohio, right?
Yeah, he is. And he's not doing too well. It's moments like this, again, where a person's real character are going to come out, in particular now, during this whole Great Awakening, which cannot be understated, where people are having a higher power, Jesus clearly, bypass any authority figure of a human being and speak directly to them, and then give them powers of observation and the ability to learn. And then they're looking up information on their own, and they're figuring out the truth as to what's going on. And then a lot of them, again, are saying, I should know more, and it's my responsibility to know more. So maybe that means that I have to get on this platform or that platform and figure out what's happening. But I would kind of introduce this a little bit if you can give me a couple of minutes to read this.
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed Greek philosophy, and I've always enjoyed ancient philosophy. Certainly, the heavy hitters of Socrates and Epictetus and those guys, Marcus Aurelius, you name it, Aristotle as well, Plato. But and they didn't always agree, but there were many things that they did agree on, and tyranny, as it turns out, was one of them. They, of course, all hated it and detested it, and they didn't like democracy either, because they knew that democracy was tyranny. That's what the term really means. That should have been another page in the children's book that I just forgot, but that would have been cool. Anyway, I came across this the other day, and then I looked it up and I read it very quickly, and I thought, okay, it's a little too long to read for your show and maybe a little too long for mine, but I can at least bust it up a little bit and read some portions of this. This comes from the 4th century, and this is Aristotle specifically, in what became compiled as a book titled Politics. Anybody can look this up. The entire PDF is for free online. But in this particular portion, and of course he talks about relationships with people, because that's what politics is. It's social relationships in groups and throughout society. That's at least the ancient definition, kind of paraphrasing it, but that's essentially it. And he talks about property and things of that nature and what it means to people and a number of other things. But he talks about tyrants. And if you can just bear with me here, there's a few paragraphs here that I wanted to read. And I think with everything going on right now, it's going to make a lot of sense. So it starts off, and again, I kind of bounced around a little bit and picked parts and sort of threw them all together. But he said the following here. He said, quote, "As to tyrannies, they are preserved in two most opposite ways. One of them is the old traditional method in which most tyrants administer their government. There are, firstly, the prescriptions mentioned some distant back for the preservation of a tyranny, insofar as this is possible, that the tyrant should lop off those who are too high, rather. So basically, if you have too much influence, they don't want you around. That's typical of lots of work environments, certainly government, to say the least. He must put to death men of spirit. He must not allow common meals, clubs, education, and the like. He must be upon his guard against anything which is likely to inspire either courage or confidence among his subjects. He must prohibit literary assemblies, I can read, or other meetings for discussion. And he must take every means to prevent people from knowing one another, for acquaintance begets mutual confidence. He goes on, he says further, he must compel, he being the tyrant, that all persons staying in the city to appear in public and live at his gates. Then he will know what they are doing. If they are always kept under, they will learn to be humble. In short, he should practice these, and like the Persian and barbaric arts, which have all the same object, a tyrant should also endeavor to know what each of his subjects says or does, and should employ spies. And then he goes on and says female directives, eavesdroppers, things of that nature, because when people talk, they'll tell you more about them than what they might normally say in a particular setting. So if you give them the ability to talk, then they might share more and share something that they don't want to share, or they'll be in a position where they'll be attacked. He said another part of the tyrant is to sow quarrels among the citizens. Friends should be embroiled with friends, and people with the notables, and the rich with one another. He goes on here, and this is, I think, a rather important part, and then I'll stop, even though I could keep going. He says another mark of a tyrant is that he likes foreigners better than citizens, and lives with them and invites them to his table. For the one are enemies, but the others enter into no rivalry with him. And ultimately, he says this boils down to three separate things. One, the humiliation of his subjects. He knows that a mean-spirited man will not conspire against anybody. Number two, the creation of mistrust among them. For a tyrant is not overthrown until men begin to have confidence in one another. And this is the reason why tyrants are at war with the good. They are under the idea that their power is endangered by them, not only because they would not be ruled despotically, but also because they are loyal to one another and to other men, and do not inform against one another or against other men. And finally, three, the tyrant desires that his subjects shall be incapable of action. No one attempts what is impossible, and they will not attempt to overthrow a tyranny if they are powerless. So I read that and I just thought, look at what we're seeing. You're seeing people in cities gather, which is what tyrants want, and yet the people who are being led around don't know it. They don't know that this is as old as the 4th century. They're completely unaware that everything under the sun is not new. And then you examine the last 5 years of our lives and what we've experienced over the last 5-6 years of our lives now, and all of that division between the knowledgeable and the unknowledgeable, and getting friends against friends and family members against family members, and making those seeds of division permanent in many cases. That is what tyrannies do. That is the entire point. But it's also, I think, worth examining that what we experienced certainly over the last 6 years, that there was something that was worse that was going to happen. This is terrible, clearly. We're watching our fellow Americans be brainwashed and react at a moment's notice over absolutely nothing. In particular, again, it's gotten to the point where someone's following the law and, they pick and choose what their outrage is. I think I brought it up on my show. I saw a YouTube video from helicopter footage of a guy who was trying to carjack people on a highway recently, a few weeks back or whatever it was, and someone drove right into him and hit him. No one cried over that one. And He was breaking the law, and he lawfully hit him because he was armed with a gun, and he was not a law enforcement officer. He was a criminal, and he was shooting at people, and a citizen just flat out hit him. Great. But again, there was no outrage. There was no candlelight vigil for a black man who was breaking the law and ended up dying as a result of his own actions. So they carelessly pick and choose because they don't want to know. And again, the Carlin clip just is perfect. It's a nail on a hammer right on the nail there. That when you make fun of these individuals, we're making fun of their lack of knowledge, but they take it personally that we're making fun of them. And it's like, no, we're not doing that really. We're just saying, why didn't you do that over here with something else when you could have, and you didn't?
Oh, it makes so much sense right now. You know, as you brought that up, I'm thinking to my head, it's like, you're right here in Detroit. Dudes are getting shot every night.
Yeah.
Barely makes the news. Why? Where's BLM? Where's all these things? Outcast, you've seen it. Babies killed. Every night something's going on here. Chicago, even worse. That comes up and hits the news a little bit, but it's never one of these big national events. Even though it happens every single night, people getting killed, shot, stabbed, raped, all this stuff. It's just little local news here and there, here and there, here and there. But when they all focus on one thing and the non-thinkers believe it, that's when it becomes a coordinated mess. So you have media, you have education, and you have these politicians who are all parroting the same thing at the same time. They're gassing up their people. People are reacting. Then you have that whole laser and cat game. And that's what turns these streets into some real big time chaos. And we see it over and over again. It's formulaic. And the way you just laid it out, Sean, that's awesome. Wenjo over on YouTube says Sean just went straight down the list of what we're watching unfold today. Terrifying.
That's Aristotle. I wish it was me, but it's certainly Aristotle. And again, one of the things that he says, and he's not the only one to say it, it's been repeated throughout history. Niccolo Machiavelli said it in his letter to the Prince of Italy. In his book, The Prince, I believe is what it's titled. And he openly said in his letter to him, he said, look, I'm an economist, I'm a philosopher. Here's my 2 cents on what I think you should do if you're going to lead this country. And one of the major points was, do not invite in foreigners from other countries, in particular foreigners who are wealthy or have positions of power, because they will never advocate for our country and our people who live here within our borders. They will always advocate for someone else who is closer to them, either in a foreign country, their own family, XYZ. Hence, Vivek Ramaswamy. He's a prime example of that. Again, if Niccolo Machiavelli is warning us about Vivek Ramaswamy, we might want to take that seriously. That's a big deal. Okay. And if Aristotle's warning about it too when it comes to tyrants, well, yeah. And there are different kinds of tyrants. Some of them rule with an iron fist, and some of them do it with a smile on their face. And then they do it with slow cuts over the course of time. And before you know it, you have no rights left. And you're paying double on your property taxes and a million other things for some pet project that only benefits him and those he knows. So fortunately, we have an alternative. And I was a little prescient, I thought, when I brought him up on my show a while back. And credit to Josiah Richwine, who listens to my show, and he's a friend of mine. And he texted me and he said, hey, you're going to want to pay attention to this Casey Putsch guy. He lives up around Toledo and I think Petersburg. I'm probably getting that wrong, but he lives up in that area. And he has a YouTube channel, The Car Guy, something along those lines. He's got 1 million+ followers, something.
Yeah, he's good. I watch him too. He's good.
Yeah, he's tired of what's been going on in Ohio. He's not a Vivek Ramaswamy fan by any stretch. And I remember seeing some of his earlier videos where he's just yelling into the camera, and I'm going, why isn't this guy running for governor? And then a few months passes, and then a few more, and then sure enough, he throws his hat in the ring and he's running for governor, which is great. And he has a lieutenant governor picked, and she seems fine. Don't know anything about her necessarily, but she's a professional with experience. Not necessarily political experience to my knowledge, but who's to say? They aren't establishment is the whole point. And then there's a Marcel Sturbich who's running for Secretary of State. And he's all over X, and I would encourage anybody to listen to what he says, because it's just it's a breath of fresh air. It's nice listening to these guys get angry about what people need to get angry about, but also just talk in a way that does not sound like a Vivek Ramaswamy coming from the political school of George Soros or George Bush or whomever. I mean, these guys care about Ohioans because they're Ohioans. Just because Vivek Ramaswamy was born here and went to high school here and then bolted and never came back until he saw an office position he wanted, sorry. Yeah. It's time for us to put him out to pasture and make him more irrelevant, I think. But he apparently, again, Casey's calling him out online, which is great, along with the Democrat who's running, who's irrelevant also, but her name is Amy Acton. And she was in charge of Mike DeWine's Health and Human Services version of what goes on here in Ohio, certainly during the COVID lie. So she's a murderer, and that goes without saying. And, but neither one of them are fans of Vivek, but for different reasons. One of them's not a fan of Vivek because he's honest and sees the problem and the swindler in him. And then Amy Acton sees him just as a right-left paradigm opponent. And that's not good enough. So there's good things happening here regarding that. I think you talk about grassroots, so to speak. This certainly seems to be it at face value. Again, Casey Puch isn't a politician, but he's got some money, and I bet he knows some people with some money, and that certainly helps. I mean, hell, I'd run for governor, but I don't stand a chance. So I wish him the best. I'm going to vote for him and Marcel Sturbich, because we can't have Vivek Ramaswamy here. And I'll tell you a quick little story. This was told to me by a friend of mine who attended a Vivek rally here in town. He was here, I believe, in the beginning of December on Miami University's campus. And I don't know the name of the venue on Miami University's campus that he picked, but there are bigger venues. And he apparently he sold tickets for everybody, basically students and citizens who wanted to go. I didn't want to go because I knew I'd get thrown out, because if he had a Q&A that wasn't controlled, which the Q&As in those lectures by and large are controlled to a great extent. You have TPUSA that's there. You have the campus branch of TPUSA that's there. They take their Vivek cheerleaders and they have them walk up and ask him, very bland questions. But after it was the morning after his talk there, I got on his YouTube channel to see what videos he had, and he had very few. It was 3 total. It was one short video on his YouTube channel of a line of people out in the snow, standing on the sidewalk waiting to get in, and he's thanking everybody for showing up. The second video is a very milquetoast younger kid asking a very generic question, like, in fact, here's what he said, which is telling of who Vivek Ramaswamy is. He said, and I'm paraphrasing him here, so my apologies, but he said something. The question was, what is something that you have learned now that you didn't know 5 years ago that you would do different? Pretty basic question, pretty straightforward, something along those lines. Vivek censors himself before he answers the question. Now, most people would say the COVID lie. I believed it. I went along with it. I wore the mask. I did this. I did that. I didn't say what I could have said. I should have known a little bit more. Whatever else. I mean, a person with real reflective powers probably would have said something close to that. He starts off by saying, well, I don't want to ruffle any feathers. I want to be careful about what I say here. And I'm going, there it is. There's the tell. Because somebody like him in a position like that will always show you who they are when an honest, very straightforward question is asked. And they want nothing to do with it because they're afraid that if they tell the truth, one of their donors isn't going to like them, or they're going to lose a vote, or whatever it is. That's a big problem. So that was the only clip. And then it just showed his introductory talk. and his introductory talk, he was introduced by somebody who spoke for maybe like 4 minutes about Vivek and how great he is. And then Vivek came out and he spoke for 15 minutes. And when I say he spoke for 15 minutes about nothing, I mean, he spoke for 15 minutes about nothing. It was just zilch, nothing. It was all political pandering. Here's what we have to do. We have to be good people. We have to do this. We have to do that. And I mean, again, my question to him in a Q&A would have been, where were you during the COVID lie?
Yeah.
That would have been point one. I'd have said, what are you going to do about the property taxes? Because in Ohio, property taxes in the 88 counties, 40 some out of the counties within the last 2 years have had their property taxes raised by 39 to 42%. Where's that money going and what are you going to do about it?
Yep.
I mean, then everybody in the room's looking at me, including all of his, his security guards, and they're going, who's that guy?
Let's throw him out.
Looks like a white supremacist. I mean, get rid of him, and then, thanks for the question. We got more questions, blah, blah, blah. And then it would have been a milquetoast question after me. The point I'm making is I think all of that is completely controlled. And here's why. The person who went told me that of the two lines, the student line and the adult citizen of Oxford, Ohio line, the students got in and all the way in and all of them. And then the adults started to go in, and one of his spokespeople came out and said, sorry, the place is full. We got more students than we anticipated. The place is full. And they sent everybody home.
Horrible.
More knowledgeable adults, veterans, people who live here. Who's to say where these students came from? Who's to say they're really Miami University students? They could have been bussed in for all we know.
Yeah.
But it's that kind of stuff that is the problem. And they said, well, he later, whoever it was, someone came out and gave us all a free T-shirt. And I'm like, there you go. That's because that's what he would do.
Yeah.
He'd kick you out. You're waiting in the freezing cold for God knows how long to get in. And then he says, sorry, you can't come in. Here's a T-shirt. That's what a politician would do. So
it sounds like he's been well seasoned, well groomed, Outcast. Vivek the Snake.
Well, you know what it makes me think of a little bit? I don't know how important this is to say, but it makes me think of the platitudes that Obama spoke in, right? He didn't get to the nitty gritty. He didn't say anything he really meant. He with a silver tongued, just like a rock star, he got out there and would talk about these generalities that everybody can get behind.
Hope and change.
Hope and change. Everybody likes hope. Everybody likes a little change, right? And everybody's like, yeah, hope and change. And you're like, well, how's he plan on doing this hope and change? Nobody wanted to get to the nitty gritty. So they are expert at sounding ambiguous and platitudinal. And then the public that are, once again, the NPCs that put the chip in, they'll bite on it every time because it's, somebody said, I forget who it was, if it was Wenjo or somebody earlier had said it's a popularity contest in the chats, right? All elections are popularity. Well, I mean, and that's true. The general public. But now I'm starting to wonder, too, if we get to the bottom of a lot of election fraud, are these people actually a minority and not a majority that have been voting all these imposters in, all these creeps in here? I'm starting to think maybe. I think people are smarter than we realize, but they always put a magnifying glass on whatever narrative they want, even if it's the minority, and make everybody think, oh, well, the country's moving in this direction. Well, maybe it isn't. Maybe it's just all propaganda. Then, but since you're talking about Vivek too, there's a thing coming out today that Robert De Niro says he's going to have to move out of New York City.
Yes, bruh. Hey, you brought up Vivek and the Obama, and while you're doing that, I typed that into my laptop here, and this is what came up.
So first, let me just address a question that is on everybody's mind at home tonight. Who the heck is this skinny guy with a funny last name, and what the heck is he doing in the middle of this debate stage?
The hope of a mill worker's son who dares to defy the odds. The hope of a skinny kid with a funny name who believes that America has a place for him too.
Yay.
Yeah, Vivek the Snake, y'all, for Ohio. Crazy. I want Casey Butch too. Man.
Yeah, Casey's legit.
Yeah.
And like I said, he gets righteously angry about the right things, and he's tired of it. And he harps very specifically and rightfully so on Vivek when it comes to heritage, because Vivek has a habit of putting his foot in his mouth, and he consistently will say things like, well, where you're from doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And your heritage and your lineage don't matter, that if you're an American, you're an American, and that's for everybody, and that's the way that it is. And it's like, wait a minute, you're insulting people now. And now you're insulting people who know about their lineage and care about it. And families that have taken time to go through their family history and find old pictures and put that together, and even look into the towns that ancestors founded and the whole thing. And it matters. Ohio is Northern European English and German.
That's what
by
it is,
and large.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's the ancestry there. The further north you go up into Michigan, now you're talking about French Canadians and the French, and same thing, the Scottish, and
Yep.
same as the Germans, Irish, the whole thing.
Finnish.
And it's like,
yeah,
wait a
all
minute, that matters. That's a big deal, and we care about that.
Mm.
So to have a grifter come around and say what he says, it's insulting, and he doesn't seem to care. Again, regarding him, copping out on people that wanted to listen to him talk and maybe even get a chance to ask him a question. All the local adults who decided to show up, and it was a substantial line. I've seen videos of it. He later, the very next day, got on Facebook again and just said, "Hey, sorry, pick a bigger venue next time."
Yeah. So
And
yeah, he's
again, it's like, that's
gaslighting.
insulting.
Yeah, he's gaslighting people too. So Outcast, I saw you wanted to say something.
This is kind of a random thought, but I just got to throw it in the hopper because I know you guys will appreciate it. As a Christian, the closer I get in my walk with my faith, the more I realize that, as a Christian, race doesn't matter. I like Scottish history and I have a kilt and stuff like that. But really, at the end of the day, who cares what my genealogy is, because my identity is in Christ. Okay. So whenever anybody, I'm a little cautious when everybody gets too wrapped up, just personally. I mean, you got to be a little cautious about getting too wrapped up in your genealogy, because it's kind of like, really, if the Bible says, let's not waste time on senseless genealogies. Now let's parallel that to being an American. We're a melting pot, just like Christianity as a faith is a melting pot of believers, right? With different, they're spiritual beings in different colored tents that they're living in, temporary dwelling spaces. As Americans, we have a similar attitude that you dismiss where you came from for what you came to, and you want to be part of this new identity as an American. And what people like this Vivek guy, and even Obama did it too, they kind of talk in platitudes about being an American, but at the end of the day, they will use their identity politics to advance themselves or to make a point. And it's disingenuous. Once again, either you're an American and you have American values, or you're not. And why are we voting for you? I mean, why are we talking about your last name, Vivek? Why are we talking about your last name, Obama? And we find out that's not even his real last name. His name is, Barry Soetoro, and he changed it to Barack Obama to sound like an edgy outlier minority. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here. I don't know if you guys can do anything with what I'm saying here, but I see a parallel here. It's like either you're with us or you're not. Either you're dropping all of these notions to be an American, or you're going to use your race to advance your agendas. And they hurdle that fence and they play both sides of it. And I find it really annoying. I just wish that they would stick to the facts, but what he's doing is he's selling a concept. He's selling a smile. He's selling his hairline. He's selling a suit and how the suit fits him. None of this has any value to it. And I'm going to bring it back to the education system. We were talking about, earlier you were quoting Aristotle, right? Well, if these college students were actually being taught deep thought and philosophy in the classroom, they would understand that everything's been addressed in the past. There's nothing new under the sun, as the Bible says. Everything's been done. Let's look at history. Let's look at what's been written. But these people know nothing because the education system crammed them through, right? They found the best people that were good, the best at regurgitating books that were actually written by, we find out, Ghislaine Maxwell's father, who owned a publishing company that makes books for the education system, right? And then we reward them for regurgitating what's in those books that aren't even accurate, instead of teaching people how to be deep thinkers. So Are we surprised that these college-educated people in New York City voted for Vivek? They don't even know the battle they're in. They're just okay. He's the guy that the media says is the cool guy. Everybody else is a fascist. I'm going to vote with this guy. They don't even know what he stands for. I don't know. I'm rambling all over the place, guys. I hope there's some value in that.
Well, there's a lot going on in the chat rooms right there, Outcast. And Shelley Pollock just said, hey, Trump endorsed him. He's just got a lot of people following because of that. And see, that's a bad thing too, that people are going to just follow and trust what some other people say about the person instead of really investigating, kind of like what Sean's doing. He's investigating. He's asking deep questions. He's going in a way. And I know how when Trump endorses somebody, they usually always win. So that's very concerning for your race down there in Ohio for governorship there, Sean.
Unless you take into account the Fauci effect and that his endorsement on day one may not be the endorsement that people think.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just me thinking multidimensionally on it. But if he says in a tweet or a truth post, rather, that I endorse Vivek Ramaswamy, and he says it once 6 months ago, and then he says it another time in the fall. Well, we've woken up to a great deal of things, and so have endless other people. And that's, in many cases, that's kind of a little wink and a nod to say, you need to look into this guy,
mm-hmm.
because he might not be who you think. And then the truth always comes out with time.
Yep.
It's just whether or not there's enough time when you are butting up against a May primary election in our state. So, it's interesting, and I think people have to take into account also, to again sort of go along with what Outcast was saying there, that you have to take into account the current time and then the scheme. If people understand the current time and they know what the scheme is, then you can pick a Vivek Ramaswamy out of nowhere. It's not that he's Indian. He doesn't have to be. He could be anybody running as a conservative, but people can pick out the neocons like nobody's business.
Mm-hmm.
They can say, wait a minute, you've come out of nowhere. Okay, you got an endorsement from Trump, big deal. But the awake person is going, okay, who are you? And then I'm going to look into you because I want to be a well-informed individual, and I'd like to actually know who I'm voting for. How long have you been around here? Do you speak specifically about things or do you not? And another example, which I brought up on my show, is Vivek was caught on a cell phone when someone was asking him a question just in passing. And he said, what are we going to do about these H-1B visas? What are we going to do about these illegal aliens? It's kind of a problem. What's your take on that? And Vivek turned it, and he basically said that it's an education problem. That was it. It wasn't a legal problem.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't a legal
deflection.
problem. It wasn't an issue of these individuals are here illegally on purpose to take advantage of the system, which is going to be a nice segue, I think, to the school board member here.
Yep. Let's get into that.
But that right there is the larger scheme, because that should tell people that he has another agenda, and his agenda is not for Americans. It's not for legal Americans. Now, again, I've heard Donald Trump say, I think he was talking with Laura Ingraham. He said something like, Americans aren't qualified to do all of the jobs that need to be done, certainly from a technological standpoint. And Laura Ingraham said, well, wait a minute, why not? And he just said, well, we just don't have enough of them that can do the job. Again,
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And I'm not carrying buckets of water for Donald Trump all the time. I'm simply saying that there are some things that he says and does that at face value I disagree with, but there are also things that he says and does where I say to myself, well, there might be more to it than that.
Yep.
He might be saying it for a particular reason. He might be saying it to motivate people and be like, wait a minute, I'm an American. I'm good enough. I can do this. F you. And then, they go and they do it.
Shines the light on people when he brings stuff up. He's always shining lights.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's a good thing.
Good point.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. So you brought up school board members, and you have quite the situation going on there with your local school board. And at some point, I want you to address because we always talk about Mockingbird in the media in CIA. I bet a lot of people out there don't realize that there is some sort of a connection between school boards. Yes, even local school boards, you guys, that there's a connection that you might not realize in your own local township between school boards and CIA. Sean, you'll probably get into that in a little bit, but it's amazing when I first heard it, and I think I heard it from you, how that gets weaved into this whole situation. It's crazy, even in these little small towns, the influence from the outside, because they need certain counties, certain towns to go a certain way. And it starts very small, very local. So I can't wait for you to get into that stuff too.
I'll tell you what I'll do first. I'm going to email you, and you can put it in the description below of this if you'd like. Someone contacted me who claims to have worked with a couple of sort of well-known media groups, or formally. Mm-hmm. And they came across my Substack, and they hit me up in the messages portion of Substack, not in the comment section, but just in the private messages. And I don't get private messages there, which is why I almost just deleted it and disregarded it. But they said, here's what I've produced. Here's some of what I've produced. And they appear to make kind of like small documentaries or things of that nature. And it's a well done video, and it's on Vimeo, and it's titled Rotten Apples Episode 1, The Agenda. And it's about 18 minutes long or so. About 18 minutes exactly. And it's school teachers and parents being asked about COVID and what transpired during that entire psychological operation and the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And they're accurate. It's well done. It's not as deep as I'd go, but it's certainly accurate. So regarding any intelligence agency influence within American education, I would say that it's always been there, just very briefly, and I'll kind of be brief on this, but it's always been there. It's not just the CIA. It's endless other operations, certainly MI6, Mossad, most of them. And what they do is if they can't get people directly into colleges, universities, and K-12 school districts, which they certainly can and they do, they get them at the state level within the state departments of education, and they have them hold those tyrannical positions, like what Aristotle said. You have to have a person there that you can control, who will do what you say, and then if anybody seeks to challenge that person, then you have to get rid of them instantly, or as quickly as humanly possible, as if to send a message. And then, of course, everybody's threatened with loss of pay, loss of job, reputation being smeared and destroyed. You'll never be employed again, the whole thing. And they're open about this, too. And the education business operates that way. That's why they have licensure. The whole licensure thing, which I've spoken about on your show before, is there for that reason. It's this thing hanging over everybody's head that if you screw up or you don't, and you tell the truth, we'll snatch it from you, and then you'll never be able to enter a classroom or have influence with anybody ever again, so they think. So they get them again to believe that sort of mentality that you need us, we don't need you, you're expendable, we aren't, we're here forever, and that's the way that it's going to be. Yeah. But they also write it into policy. And I remember mentioning this on your show too, that it's HR policy, that a lot of these human resource directors of school districts behave the way that they behave and do the things that they do because the policy that's written for them to follow is written by those intelligence agencies and people who work for them to get people to comply no matter what. If it were really the times of Socrates and Aristotle and Plato and things of that nature, people would be walking around, conversing, asking questions, seeking answers, and arriving at logical conclusions, and then asking more questions again. And then that becomes a lifelong thing. But they killed Socrates. So if they can kill somebody all the way back then, and he was sentenced to death by suicide, so he had to, I believe, drink hemlock, and then it took him 2 weeks to die. Very painful way to go. And I believe it was Plato, if I'm not mistaken, who said, well, just take this, basically the form of cyanide back in the day, yep, and then you'll die. And he said, no. He said, if I do that, they win. I'm not going to let them win.
Yep.
I mean, they're either going to cut my head off or they're going to make me drink this. So it's one or the other. But while I'm still poisoned, I'm still going to teach, and I'm still going to do my best to, have some influence with some people. And so if it can happen that way all the way back then, you'd better believe it happens that way today, because it does. So case in point, again, it's not all individuals who are of Indian descent or African descent or anything like that. You can hand select anybody and put them in any position, regardless of skin color or nationality or whatever. But very specifically, there's a gal who is in the Upper Arlington School District, and her last name is Satyani, and she is Indian. And she was allegedly associated with bullying a child or having a child bullied in school. Again, as a school board member, she invited individuals over to her house. He was a part of a middle school football team. He showed up. Her son was there as well, and he was there allegedly and said something about the house smelling like curry.
Mm-hmm.
And then her son took it as a racist comment. And then it blew up from there. And then before you know it, he's being bullied in school relentlessly over the course of months. And then he kills himself in the end of September. He goes home. And again, this is the negligence of the school system too, because as the story goes, and I wasn't there, so I don't know, but as the story goes, he was crying hysterically the night that he killed himself all throughout football practice. So he's crying hysterically, uncontrollably, and no one's consoling him or apparently or asking him what's wrong or anything else. And then he's crying in front of his mother on the ride home, and they were looking to get counseling for him, but they hadn't told him apparently. And then he ends up taking his parents' gun and shooting himself that night.
Ugh.
And everybody, the people who were knowledgeable about it, back up the grapevine, so to speak. They said, well, it kind of stems from what happened in the house of this school board member. Now, this is going to be a bit of a left turn here a little bit, but I want people to hang with me on this for a second. This is part of the warping of the mind that takes place.
Mm-hmm.
People have forgotten what the job description is. And the job description of what a school board member is supposed to be, and what a school teacher is supposed to be, and what a school administrator is supposed to be has completely flipped. You have social emotional learning to thank for that. You have liberal ideology to thank for that. And it's been decades long, and it's been going on for a very long time. The 60s didn't help. The 70s didn't help. And then it just got worse and worse and worse. And now it's to the point where, of course, feelings are being taught over facts. And test scores can clearly show that correlation.
Yeah.
But it's completely warped what people's job really is. They believe that because they know this, they know that they are inadequate as instructors. They'll never admit it, but they are inadequate as instructors. So what do they do to compensate? They engage in feelings and let's be your friend and look at all this charitable work that I do and everything else. That's what schools have become now. Schools are charitable organizations. If taxpayers had any idea the amount of money that goes to schools through property taxes, income tax, or whatever levies and other taxes, of course, property taxes being the main one, if they had any idea what charities their money was really going to, they'd pull their children out in the blink of an eye, and they'd never pay taxes ever again. Of course, those people would go to jail for not paying taxes, but this is part of the problem. There has to be an end to that. That if you are not, and Ohio would be a nice testing ground for it, and it would succeed because it makes sense and it's common sense at face value. If you don't attend the school, then you don't have to pay property taxes to that school. That's a no-brainer.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what does that mean? Well, that means they're going to raise the property taxes of the people still attending the school. So be it. Those people love high taxes anyway. Let them eat it. If they want high taxes and they're attending that indoctrination center that has all of that brainwashing policy and all of that control and all of that tyranny and all of it. If that's what they want on their menu and on their plate, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, all year long for 180 days, let them eat it. But don't make everybody else eat it, because that's not fair. So that's part of the tyrannical aspect of things also. I went off on a rant there, but I mean, it's a problem.
Yep.
Regarding the Tatiani woman, she's being investigated, certainly with a little help from me. Endless individuals there locally are also all over it. I've made some open records requests. I've published some of those emails, and it shows somebody who's trying to get involved in a way to basically, at least based on my opinion, cover up their even sideways involvement. But it's a school board member who's involved in things a school board member should not be doing. That's my ultimate point, is that they should not be having get-togethers as a school board member in their home for students. You don't do that. You're a board member of a multi-million-dollar corporation. Board members of multi-million-dollar corporations don't have get-togethers with minors in their own home. One way or another, you don't do it. Right. Doesn't matter if you're in a high-rise or you're in a school building. In fact, if you're in a school building, you run the risk of something terrible happening like that.
Yeah.
And then you're involved. And then there's no getting out.
Yeah, back in our day, that was a no. I mean, that was a no-go zone. You didn't cross those lines.
100%. I felt weird being a soccer coach.
Yeah.
I mean, I coached soccer because they came to me and they were like, we need a soccer coach. And I went, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But they were like, well, but no one else wants to do it. And I went, oh, God. Okay, fine. Yeah. I'll do it. I learned a lot. It was interesting. We didn't lose, which was great. But even so, it was risky, because I'm saying all it takes is one player to not like me and then yell, scream, and shout. Did that happen? Yeah. Did I have parent confrontations? Sure did. But it's that kind of stuff where it's completely unnecessary. And I knew that was going to happen and I didn't want to do it. And then once it all happened and the season ended, I said, I'm done and I'll never do it again. And that was the case. But again, I'll give you another example. And they put these pictures out there. And it's like, there's no inner monologue. They're not even thinking. The local superintendent in the school district where I live, is Talawanda City School District in Oxford, Ohio. His name is Ed Thoreau. I've brought him up on your show before. He's directly wrapped up in this Title IX investigation of an elementary school principal who, in my opinion, molested a child in a bathroom stall. I have some updates on that, but maybe not tonight, but another time. Anyway, he's during the Christmas month there in December, he's over in the school building and he's dressed up as an elf. Now he's a gay man, for one way or, regarding one thing or another, he's just thrown that out there, but he's dressed up as an elf and he's down on his hands and knees taking pictures with minor boys. Ugh. It's like the optics of it don't even bother them. They don't even think about it. And then the elementary school principal is the wife of the chief of police, and she's dressed up like an elf. And the two of them are dressed up like elves. And I'm saying to myself, are you a school or are you a shopping mall and Santa's about to come around the corner and sit in the chair? What's going on here? Mm-hmm. What is this? This is not what you do. This is not your job. But they think it's their job, which is the problem. It's
Sean,
not.
do you think they do those things because they think they're protected in like that there's nobody's going to, that even if somebody has an issue with it, that nobody's going to do anything about it? Is that why they do it? Or do you think that their twisted minds are like clouded and they can't see, there's no self-awareness there? I mean, what's your take on that? Just curious.
It's a little bit. You're right. It's a little bit of everything. It's they feel protected because they're under contract. They're protecting one another. Clearly, they're acquaintances. That goes without saying. They know each other. They probably hang out privately, whatever else. But either way, they support each other ideologically. They support each other clearly based on whatever activity is going on and activities in school, and that somehow is a good thing. And that's part of the warping of the mind that has existed this entire time, because that's just not true. That's not what's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And again, I know I'm beating a dead horse here, and I've beyond repetitive, but that's the problem. And yeah, they do feel protected, because when someone complains, who looks at it at face value and goes, "What are you doing? This is not your job." They would say, "Take it easy. We're helping people. You don't know the situation around it. You don't know anything about it, and you need to mind your own business." Well, okay. But don't get upset then when someone gets busted for being a pedophile.
I almost can't help but think too that there's a spiritual component to this too, where evil, like people who are, I don't want to be overly dramatic here, but people who have demonic oppression or possession, eventually the demons just keep pushing further and further and further. They always push the boundaries until they reveal themselves, right? And these people have given into their perversion and their lust to an extent where now they want to make sure that they're push it to the level they're going to try to make everybody accept it, to tell them that they're okay in it. They want to be applauded for it. And they're just going to keep pushing and pushing until they eventually, sometimes they, hopefully all the time, they push themselves right into a trap where they nobody can deny what's going on here anymore, right? Especially with this guy that we know his history, Mr. Elf.
Yeah. Episode 206, you were on talking about that, the Expose Them, featuring Dr. Sean, pedophile apologist and all that stuff. Go listen to that, you guys, after you listen to this one tonight, 206.
And again, it wasn't the superintendent who was necessary. He wasn't the assaulter in that particular situation. But either way, a lot of irregularity from what I hear and what I understand regarding particular testimonies of individuals in that Title IX. But either way, that should be wrapping up here relatively shortly, if I had to take a guess. And I bet it doesn't work out for the principal in question. But that right there is part of the problem. Because when you create a culture like that, where you're doing things like that and you're liquefying the job description to where it's just fluid and it's not rock solid, like, here's what you're supposed to do. And it becomes just this feeling playground. Well, then that's when someone's going to get assaulted, because they're going to think to themselves, A, I can get away with it. B, I'll get away with it. And C, no one will believe anybody if I even get caught, which D, I'm not going to get caught. And then it just, it washes over them, and they think that, and then they act and they strike and bang. And that's the way that it goes.
They
like
believe
the
they're untouchable.
It's like the people you see openly communicating about the things they openly communicate on, sexually online, and they have no idea that they're talking to an FBI agent or a local citizen who's going to call the police 5 minutes later when they meet up at Walmart to bust a pedophile. The person talking online has no idea who they're talking to.
Right.
They're just living, thinking that. Yeah. But we can get into the what's her name again? Anissa Liban.
Yeah, Anissa Liban.
Yeah. Tell you what, if you want to bring up that Substack real quick, we can just hit on a couple of points with it, because the pictures are interesting. And this is one of those things where
go ahead and start talking about that, and I'll get us going here.
Sure. So first of all, this too ties into your CIA aspect. It's not that Anissa Liban has to be CIA, but she can be funded by it. And she can be funded by it through 5 different filters. But if someone pops out of nowhere who doesn't fit the bill of the particular position in a particular geographic location, and I'll even go so far as to say just flat out looks different than everybody else who's on the school board, that can be a red flag. And her timing of her showing up was beyond suspicious. So I was on your show and I described around the time when she showed up, which was 2 years ago, give or take. That was the spring of, it was before the election in 2024. And Westerville City Schools in Central Ohio was getting rid of LifeWise. They had gotten rid of it because a small liberal mob showed up and they were complaining about LifeWise. And for those that don't know what LifeWise is, it's a Christian academy where one day a week for 1 hour, a bus shows up And students who want to attend LifeWise get on the bus and they go to a church or a local building. They learn about Jesus, and then they come back to the school. Well, as you would expect, the godless don't like this, and the schools tend to be run by those individuals. And as luck would have it, that entire hubbub, so to speak, of LifeWise blew up in central Ohio and across Ohio because LifeWise is based out of Ohio, right down Interstate 70 in Hilliard. And they ended up making right to religious instruction law in the state of Ohio, which means schools can't kick out a group like LifeWise. Now, conversely, that means that they also can't kick out a Satanist club if one wanted to exist. But either way, Westerville is predominantly white. It's predominantly Christian. It's affluent by and large. And out of nowhere, Anissa Liban shows up, and she shows up for a woman who was on the school board for 20 some odd years, or had been on either other school boards for 20 some odd years. And she left and resigned because I think she was being investigated for inappropriately voting for to advance her daughter who worked for the school district, which is a no-no. But sometimes with just a little pressure, of course, instead of just apologizing and getting back to work, these people will cut and run. And that former school board member did. And then Anissa Liban shows up. When Anissa Liban showed up, she showed up she showed up the day that they voted out LifeWise. They swore her in that day to be the interim board member. And then it was right before an election where the school district wanted a tax levy, a property tax levy. Property tax levy didn't pass. And then they came back around this past year, and an income tax levy apparently passed by at least 5,000 votes. People think that's suspicious, and I think so too. So either way, what this Anissa Liban woman has done is she was running for a full term position as school board member, and she apparently had a particular PAC, so to speak, where she filed through the Franklin County Board of Electors office to donate money to her campaign, and that group was called Friends of Anissa Liban. And she raised just through Friends of Anissa Liban approximately $90,400.
Dang.
Through approximately 140 some odd donations. That's unheard of.
It's small town too.
Well, right. It's just unheard of even for any school board position. You don't raise that amount of money.
No.
And the comparisons with the others, it was like single digit thousand, maybe double digit thousand, low double digit $1,000 for raising money, and it's for signs, t-shirts, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
This woman was getting taxi cab donations from Seattle, Washington.
What?
She was getting home health care, child care donations from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Bruh. She was getting the same from areas around Columbus. So I was.
So you're telling me that just a piddly little old school board member in a small town is getting donations from all around the country, and that's not suspicious.
Right. And what's more, right. Yeah. What's more suspicious, and if anybody watches a school board meeting, you'll know exactly what I'm saying, and you'll certainly hear it, is every now and again, in particular this one, Westerville City Schools, they will receive anonymous donations. We received a very anonymous donation to the tune of $15,000. We would like to thank that anonymous donor. Sorry, we need to know who that is, because they were receiving donations upwards of $600,000 in total across an entire year. I think by the time she made it on the board, even as an interim member, they were still receiving donations. It may have reached upwards of $900,000. My question, of course, is what anonymous donation did they receive to accept her application as opposed to other applications that were running for the interim position? I don't know, because I don't know the other people that were running, and I don't know their political affiliations, but I know this woman's, and she's as hard left as it gets.
There's a Somalian connection.
Yes, there most certainly is. And so if you, let's see.
You want to keep rolling down?
Yeah. In fact, you might want to go to the next one where I can show some of the properties. There we go. Just show that huge list there. There we go. Okay. Yeah. So what I did is a friend of mine sent me this and they said, this randomly showed up in my Facebook feed. Take a look at this. And I went, oh, Anissa Liban. What are the odds? I've been speaking about this woman on my show for a little while, certainly when she showed up, and I thought it was suspicious. Isn't this funny how Christ leads us down a particular path and then it ends up to something like this? So I saw the post and I slept on it for a night. And then I woke up the next morning and I thought to myself, well, if I don't do it, I don't know who else is going to do it. And I might not ever find out if somebody else does it. So I'll do it. So I made an open records request and I wanted all of her donations. And I made it through the Franklin County, which is Columbus, Ohio, Franklin County Board of Elections office. And I got back about 4 pages and this was it. Once you start going through this line by line, just starting with the first line, the anomalies and the irregularities, I'll call them just flags, they immediately show up. In the first column on the left-hand side, because I know it's too small to see, but the first column on the left-hand side is their first name. Then it's their last name. Then it's any non-individual contributors. So when you see that one line, that sole line, friends of that person, that's somebody else's. Yeah, that's someone else's campaign, basically. Okay. Or some other group that's donating to this person also. Then you see the contributor's address. Then you see the city that they live in. Then you see the state that they live in. There's a Minnesota one right there, which is interesting. Not employed. See that? Columbia Heights, Minnesota, the MN there, not employed. And what did they donate? $100. So again, what non-employed person in another state donates $100? Someone would say, of course, to justify it, a family member. Well, we don't know that. So then you see their home address. Yep. And then the column on the right before the date and the dollar number is what they do for a living. Who employs this person? Who's making the donation?
Like healthcare and other HSA.
A lot of them are healthcare, childcare, driver, taxi driver, not employed, and then some of them are actual employment places, so they say.
Hassan Trucking, Farmerica.
Now look at this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's 9 down where you first see the first name Liban.
Yep, I see it.
See that on the list?
Yes.
Yep. Liban. First name Liban, last name Liban. Who has the same name? First and last name.
It's like Outcast.
That's right. There you go. Yeah. And you made a $3,000 donation and you're not employed. I mean, it's that kind of weird stuff. But again, you keep scrolling down, it goes right into Minnesota, and then it goes into Washington State. And then you start looking up these places individually. And that's where the rabbit hole gets deeper. So if you want to go to the next Substack, bounce out of this one and go to the next article.
All right.
That's where it gets stranger.
Next article, which one are we looking at?
Campaign donations at the very top.
Oh yeah, right there. All right, let me blow this down a little.
Go ahead and scroll down until you see the first example of. There you go, that one.
Okay.
So this is one of the addresses, which is 510 East Mound Street in Columbus, Ohio. Of course, there's the outer belt and the whole thing. Now, in Google Maps, it's listed as an education credit union, Education First Credit Union. It says it right there on the screen, says it on the picture, the whole thing. I'm not saying that Google keeps things up to date and all of it, but either way, this was listed as the Westerville. Let me pull it up myself here. It was listed as on the form as the Westerville Education Association. So the address of this place is the Westerville Education Association, but that's not really the address of the Westerville Education Association. If you scroll down to the next picture, that's really right there, the Westerville Education Association, so it says. And it's a completely different address on Otterbein Avenue.
Completely different building? Yeah. Oh, look at that. Okay, this is crazy.
Now, someone would say again, well, that's just a clerical error. They got money from both places, but they just messed up on the address. No one messes up on an address like this when you're filling out the form logically and you know what you're filling out and you know that there's legal ramifications for filling it out.
I don't buy it.
So
I don't buy it. Nope.
Yeah. And it gets worse. If you scroll all the way to the last one, the last set of pictures, that right there you go. Okay, now go up one. This is part of the open records request that I got, and this was a giant list of her expenditures, and it shows all of them. She received she spent $250 4 separate times, June, July, August, and September, for this group called Witching Hour Consulting, LLC.
Witching Hour.
On 545 East Town Street, Columbus, Ohio. Same address, same zip code, up and down the whole thing. Now scroll down. That's the address.
Whoa,
and that's the Witching Hour, quote unquote, Political Consulting LLC. But it doesn't say that. There's no sign outside. I went up and down the street. There's no sign. There's nothing on the door. There's nothing. And if it were a real consulting business, certainly on Google Maps, certainly now anyway, you would hope that they would update it and that it would exist right below where it says building. On the left-hand side there below the actual street address. But it doesn't say that. So I got on any search engine and I typed in Witching Hour Consulting, and there wasn't anything that popped up except for one thing. And scroll down and you'll see it.
It looks, before we go there, it looks like a residential home to me.
It does.
Fancy. All right.
Now I understand, again, that some of those homes, they're law firms.
Yeah. Yep.
So they'll turn those homes into a law firm or they'll turn them into a doctor's office or a dentist's office. I mean, I fully get it. But it's not listed as that. And then when you look up Witching Hour LLC, this is the only thing that pops up on the internet, and it's a spiritual shop selling tchotchkes, candles, and God knows what out of Columbia, South Carolina.
Look at that. It's a new age store, Outcast.
Yep.
That is
Again,
crazy.
I want people to understand everybody understands this, so I'm preaching to the choir here, but it's the micro and macro level of this. I'm one guy. I made one open records request for one school board member in one town, one city, and all I wanted to see was her campaign donations. And then all I did was go through the first 10 lines, and I came up with all of this.
You kicked the bee's nest, the hornet's nest, and you got everybody all mad because you're asking questions.
I'm not the only one, and fortunately, other people were in tune on this way before I was. I mean, they knew about it immediately, but we've been communicating now online, which is nice, and they've been moving these articles around, which is good, and yeah. And she also hasn't filed her post-election finance report, and you're supposed to do that 38 days after the election, and here it is January, and she didn't do it.
That's crazy. I encourage you guys, get on his Substack, and it's listed down here below. The link is, and start following this. I can't wait to see what comes next. This is insane, Sean. You're out there pounding the pavement, and people are getting all types of nervous because you're out asking questions.
I would say this too, to tie into your sort of intelligence agency apparatus, that there's good people in this also, and I think that Nick Shirley is one of them. There's no way. I don't want to say no way, but Nick Shirley's a young kid, and he's in his 20s, I assume, and he's making the rounds, and he's on all these huge shows, and he's got people tied into him, and this was the time to drop this fraud on our nation on purpose. And people have to pick up that baton, even though he's still running with it. And the people around him, of course, are funding him and doing that. But anybody can pick this up in the area where you live. And I'm telling you, it's exhausting. But when I was going through just those 10 lines of those finances, I was physically shaking because I kept feeling in my body that this is way worse just with this one person. And I'm certain it is.
Outcast.
But they'll protect each other, just like Aristotle there at the top of the show. They'll protect each other.
Gather up around the battalions, and ward off.
Circle the wagons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on all that stuff? When the initial gut feeling off that, Alka?
It doesn't surprise me at all. I just feel like the daycare thing that was breaking, in Minnesota, just to oversimplify it, I'm just like, this is, and I'm not saying just the Democrats do it, but I was like, this is money laundering for the Democrat Party. And everything they do is this secretive shell game. And they try to make it so finite that it's hard to track. And they don't expect people like Sean to do the due diligence to track it down. And it's just, these people wouldn't have a chance if it wasn't for this type of corruption. It's everywhere. So if George Soros cannot openly fund you because they're afraid of the optics, let's say, for example, they're going to do a complex game like this. It's quite insidious. We had I don't know if it's true or not, but we had a news story that we saw where there was a huge drug bust in northern Michigan. And there was a person responsible for the docks up in, what's that? What's the tourist town up there, Jesse? I'm
Traverse
just drawing a
City.
blank on it. In Traverse City. And she was allowing huge amounts of drugs to come in on boats. And I don't know this for a fact, but my gut tells me the only way that could happen is if I think our corrupt governor, would know, this is for entertainment purposes only. I don't know anything, but the governor would go, we need to generate some income because people are turning their backs on our party. And let's do a convoluted way of getting some money in our coffers. You know what I mean? I just think that this stuff is going on everywhere you look, and it's probably cross-party for sure, but I think it's more specifically these types of activist candidates that are going to come in and completely upend and change the culture of a community and introduce all kinds of woke ideology and nonsense like that. They have a plan in place to completely corrupt the nature of mid-America, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm seeing from this. Sean, am I crazy or do you see what I'm saying here?
Yeah, that's certainly it. This is a purposeful, multi-pronged attack here, and it is most certainly a cultural one, and it is certainly an invasion, and then of course a destruction of what we know to be our own country. Yep. Because as even Donald Trump said, look at what they do to their countries. So what do you think they're going to do here? And I would bring up this point also from a behavioral standpoint and a cultural standpoint before I just say one last thing about sort of the local politics and how insidious all of it is. Do you guys remember the 18-wheeler dash cam footage of the Indian fella who was doing a U-turn in the middle of a highway, and the camera's on him and he's got the towel and the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And then that black SUV ran into back and killed I think they were Haitian refugees
the people
or whatever.
Inside. Yeah. Yep.
There you go. Right. It killed them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you remember the look on the truck driver's face when he got in that car accident?
Yeah. He didn't. Yeah. Like what? That's not what are you guys doing? Yeah. He had no, it was just a deadpan. You know what I mean? Just like, right. Oh, like that's a normal thing where I come from. We do that all day, every day. Yep.
Because everything you just said is accurate.
Yeah.
They don't have laws over there. They drive any way they want. They get in car accidents all the time. If people die, well, it's the other person's fault who ran into somebody else and whatever else. So in his head, he's saying, whatever, not my fault.
Yeah.
That's cultural, I think, for them. But when you look at Somalis, for example, and you look at these videos of people approaching Somalis, it's different. They yell, they scream, they shout, get out of here, you don't belong here, get out of here. And it's like, wait a minute. That's a different level of admitting that you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing. It's not a plain, hey, come on in and let me show you around a little bit. It's you need to get out of here because we know that we're taking advantage of the system.
Yeah, and you're trying to bust us. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. So this can't go on without the help of governors and local ignorant school attendees and everybody in between, including law enforcement.
It's like everybody knows how to cover each other's back, as the attack from the outsiders, us coming in asking questions. They want to cover and protect each other's back.
Right. And I'm not in law enforcement, never have been, never will be. But I I could take a guess, because I know the kinds of conversations that would happen within school districts, certainly now regarding all of this. They would say, again, don't assist, don't help, don't look too deeply into it. And if you do, by the way, we're going to fire you, kind of thing. I bet the same conversations, of course, are happening with law enforcement. Mm-hmm. These law enforcement individuals are saying, wait a minute, these are my tax dollars too. This is fraud. There's a crime going on there. I'm a cop. What gives? Their police chief is saying, don't get involved because city council owns police departments. They hire them, fire them all the time. We'll make your life miserable before the right thing ever happens. You'll quit, so we won't have to fire you, and then nothing happens. That's why the message is coming from the top down, from the federal level down to the local level, and then it's stirring itself from the local level up, because it has to be that way. Because again, if somebody at the top isn't mentioning it, then people aren't going to know.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So
like a hive mind, Outcast. Everybody with the hive mind going and knowing exactly what they're doing. What's your thoughts on this, Outcast, before we had to break loose here tonight?
It's just the corruption is heartbreaking, but we cannot be surprised as our culture grows increasingly godless. This is what we're going to see as we allow godless cultures in. We're going to see more of this. Give you some examples. In Isaiah 1:23, your rulers are rebels, partners with thieves. They all love bribes and chase after gifts. They do not defend the cause of the fatherless. The widow's case does not come before them.
Bingo.
Deuteronomy, you shall not pervert justice or show partiality or accept a bribe, for a bribe blinds the eyes of the wise and subverts the cause of the righteous. In Amos 5:12, they trample the poor and take from them levies of grain. You oppress the righteous and take bribes and turn aside the needy in the court. Micah 3:11, her rulers pass judgment for a bribe. Her priests teach for a price. Her prophets practice divination for money. Yet they lean on the Lord, saying, is not the Lord among us? No harm shall come to us. I guess my greater point is that, like you said in the beginning with Aristotle, was it Aristotle that you quoted?
Yep.
There's nothing new under the sun. This is not new. But as we watch our culture degenerate, and this is a whole nother topic of conversation, but who degraded our culture to begin with? Well, we could say the deep state, however you want to word it, but at the highest levels, I think that covert actors within our government has promoted godlessness through culture, media, television, music, and movies. We can look at our government officials and say, why don't they do the right thing? We cry out for justice. Well, where there's an absence of God, I think we see an uptick in this type of vile behavior out of people. If you don't like what you see, then you have to ask yourself, where are we going as a culture? Who are we as a people? Where's our identity lie? Are we a God-fearing culture, or are we godless? And we can see the true, pure evidence of godlessness right now, right before our very eyes. Sean is taking the macro, and I'm expressing it he's micro, and I'm expressing it in the macro. It is a big life issue that has plagued humanity since the beginning of time. I'm not trying to reduce or expound on. I'm just stating it. We have to be very vigilant about who we are and who we elect, and that's why people like, Carla from Axe My Tax. Like Sean, you said you love her. You'd vote for her in a minute. That's why our savvy listeners are supporting people like her in our state. And you have to look for those people in your state, and you have to try to support them and try to wake up your friends and family, because this popularity game, they take identity politics and try to promote somebody and try to turn it into a political movement into a cultural identity topic, instead of what kind of representatives do we want looking after the people and bringing justice to the people and bringing what we care about to the people. I'm rambling here, but I don't know. That's where my thoughts go on this. Sean, I thank you for your vigilance on everything that you do. You are always in the minutia of the details. I'm a broad thinker. Like I just think in generalities, and I believe in, what I believe, but you get into the dirt, into the weeds, and you show us the proof of these feelings that many of us have. It is a valuable trait that you have as a thinker, to go into into the minutia of these topics. It's the proof that we need to maybe even bring justice to these situations. God bless you, brother. We cannot thank you enough for you being a watchman on the wall, looking out for your fellow man in your own state, in your own town, and beyond. You're always doing it, and it's fearless, it's encouraging, and courage is contagious. So thank you so much for being our friend and for being a guest on our show yet again. God bless you.
Thank you. I appreciate the compliment. And I mean, I know I'm not alone in this, and I miss things. I mean, I'm missing details in the articles that I write all the time. So you're
impressing me.
Well, hey, I can't catch everything, but I certainly try. It's cliche, but we are in this together. We have to circle the wagons. If they do it, well, we can do it too. And I'm seeing that happen a little bit more, picking up on patterns and communications, and people are reaching out to me and I'm reaching out to them, and I've never even heard these people. And that's a good thing. Those connections are being made on purpose because it's going to lead to something. But accountability, as I always say on my show, is the one thing that everybody's waiting around for. And we're providing all of the evidence. And now regarding Anissa Liban, the Secretary of State has a full filed complaint for me with all the documentation and everything else and the anomalies that I picked up on, and the ball's in their court. So at face value, yeah, there's smoke because there's fire. So, it's necessary work, but you guys do it too all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, you do it constantly. You broaden the mind, you set the table for it to happen. And there was a time when that wasn't happening. But it's happening now in droves, and that's a good thing. So, yeah, again, I appreciate being on. It's always a great time, and God bless your audience. And, thanks for everything you guys do, too.
Well, listen, Sean, everybody here, our audience really loves you and likes what you're doing. And I encourage you guys, go over there and check out his Substack, also his internet, his website, AmericanEducationFM.com. Check that out. Your show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Great 1 hour podcast. You guys need to hit that up too if you're not. And look, let's keep cross-pollinating is what I'm saying, you guys. So Sean, again, thank you so much for coming on the show. Is there anything else you want to tell everybody?
Take care of yourselves. I think a lot of stuff is going to happen here relatively shortly. There's a lot of talk about a lot of serious stuff going on, and we know how bad people are going to react. So certainly protect yourselves. It's not, I don't know. I'm not trying to panic anybody or anything like that. It's just do what you do, but keep your head on a swivel, and I think once people are held accountable, good things are going to continue to happen, and people's minds are going to start to change. And the people who are the loudest, who have been wrong for a very long time, are going to start to get a little more quiet.
Yep.
And they might hopefully wake up a little bit.
It's time. Let's bring it. All right, Sean, thank you so much, brother. And we'll talk to you soon. And listen, like every time, stay dangerous, brother, in your show. And we'll see you over there on Wednesday afternoon, you guys. Check them out, American Education FM. Thank you, brother. Good night.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
All right. Awesome, Outcast. Just like every time. I mean, look at the chats right now. Sean's show was also pretty great. If you're ready to get into the weeds on some of this stuff,
Yeah, great. The comments are loving him, and I'd like to see that. He's such a great dude. I want to give a big virtual bro hug to him and just thank him for being the legend that he is. And thank you, Jesse, for introducing me to him, because I think everybody's lives are better for knowing him.
Yeah, for sure, man. Wenjo says over on YouTube, says, may our Abba bless, protect, and defend you, watcher. Yeah, he called him a watcher. Awesome. I like it. Watcher on the wall.
He is a watcher on the wall for sure.
And at some point, we're going to have to, and we missed it again, we're going to have to tell you that day that Sean came up here in Michigan, and I took him to the school board meeting, and we got kicked out. Oh, we got kicked out, Outcast. And what a crazy time that was. Yeah, that was wild. We haven't really discussed that here in our show. I think we did on his show, but dang, that was crazy. Listen, it's late, Outcast, is what I'm saying. I have to say some things to our supporters before we get out of here, and then we'll give you the final thoughts, all right? So, to our supporters, I want to say a big shout-out to you guys. You guys support us monthly on a monthly basis. Subscribestar, Buzzsprout, PayPal, Patreon, and Buy Me a Coffee. So, big shout-out, big thank you to Manny Espejo, Jill Bark, Isabel from Missouri, Ryan Mansfield, Carmen Rosario, Shelly Pollock, Michelle Yerkes, Ms. Melody, Heidi Human, Robert and Terry, Cheryl E., Bonnie Moriarty, Biffermax, Steph Me, Fire Doug, Deb Santos, Capo, and Dave Baxter, Outcast. So is there anybody else you want to shout out real quick before we go?
I just got to hang out with Biffermac this weekend. It was a blast. He bought me dinner, and we had a great time together. So, if, Biffermac, I know you're listening on Tuesday when you work out at the gym. Yep. Thank you so much for everything. We love you, and thanks for your support of the show.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, brother. And we'll have to get him back in the studio, too, at some point, because it's always fun having him in here, and I like it. So, Music Lover says, Jesse, you're holding out on a great story time about that. Yeah, I know. We just have to coordinate with Sean because I want him to be part of that. So it's good. And Music Lover also says, did I ever tell you guys I found dangerous info from Sean's show?
I don't know if I knew that or not.
No, that is brand new news to me. So that's awesome. Cool. Well, I'm glad. that, see, cross-pollination, okay, this is what I'm talking about. It's got to happen. And it is happening is what I'm saying. So I enjoy it. So, final thoughts, brother.
I'll do this real quick. I wasn't going to have final thoughts because I gave the other scripture before, but I can't help myself. Here's one that's just jumping out at me tonight. This is from 1 John chapter 4, starting at verse 4. And just I'm going to let the scripture speak for itself. It makes me think of some of this discussion tonight. You, dear children, are from God and have overcome them, because the one who is in you is greater than the one who is in the world. They are from the world and therefore speak from the viewpoint of the world, and the world listens to them. We are from God, and whoever knows God listens to us, but whoever is not from God does not listen to us. This is how we recognize the spirit of truth and the spirit of falsehood. So, I think if you're a participant on the show, anybody in the chats, anybody who listens regularly, I think that we make sense to you because we are children of God. We speak the same language. Mm-hmm. Those who are in the world, they speak a whole different dialect, and they don't understand a word of this that we're talking about here. So God bless you guys for being part of this family, and thank you to everyone who enjoys hearing these thoughts and ideas. We thank you for your support, but none of this would make sense to you unless you were a child of God. So
awesome. I like it. Music Lover says that's 1 John 4 right there. You know what else she just said, Outcast, while you were reading that? She said, several years ago, I was getting sick of the Daily Wire crowd in the work truck and started branching out. And that's how she ended up coming across Sean and us and probably a bunch of other good shows. Man, that's awesome. I like how that works out. It's a funny thing. And now look, she's sitting over here as a mod. And with us, in the show and in our group chat, group text and all that stuff. And she built a Discord for us. So you guys, hey, join our Discord, will you? There's a lot of stuff going on over there, and they are holding it down for us, Outcast, is what I'm saying. So if you guys want to be part of a group, a Dangerous Info family, the link below is the Discord. You can join and, thank Music Lover for putting that together. Yeah.
Yeah, Music Lover is an important part of the show now. I mean, she does a lot for us. And just to clarify, she says, I think, yes, it's from 1 John chapter 4, starting at verse 4 is what I read from, FYI.
Awesome. All right. Well, I dig it, brother. Good show tonight. A lot heavy hauling, heavy stuff. But we'll be back on Thursday a.m. If you can make it, Outcast, we'll talk. I got to put you right in that window again. If not, we'll figure it out there as we go during the week. But yeah, thank you so much. Let me see here. I'm just looking our supporters. Yeah, I think that's it, brother. We are going to do the outro because that's what time it is, what I'm saying. It's late. We have to get in. And I want to say, if you like what you guys heard and you want to support the show, please consider becoming a sponsor if the situation fits, all right? You can choose from any of those options that we have on the support links down below. And, if you're out there, listen, please leave us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes, Spotify, CastBox, or any of those other apps where you guys can, we're trying to reach more people just like you. So that's what I'm saying. Tell your people, your friends, your family about us, all right? Again, thank you to Sean Brooks, you guys. Go check him out over there at AmericanEducationFM.com. Check out his show, his Substack. It's all listed down below. You guys can do all that stuff. And, we have a couple late ones right here. Wenjo says, thank you for making me feel so welcome here. Definitely my newest church. Amen, Outcast. Look at that. You did that, Outcast. We're so glad to have you. Yeah, Music Lover. Yep. So it's good. They're having a great time in the hot tub is what I'm saying. Keep your hands to yourself, you guys. All right. Listen, Outcast, it's fun. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to release the gold pills right now over here on the scratching. Release the scratching so you guys can do all that stuff. I'm looking for gold pills, rumble rants, anything, and I don't see any, and that's all good. So listen, you guys, it's been awesome. Also, thank you guys to Music Lover, Jack Pine Savage, Ms. Melody, Trusty Turnup, and they are also moderators out there that are actually doing work when somebody can't be here or things get a little heavy. But there goes the scratching. Join us live here every Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, and on our new show on Thursday, 10 a.m., you guys, the Rise and Shine Show, all right? That's what I'm talking about. So I want you guys to be out there and listen. Thank you guys so much for watching the show. Do not be threatened by the mainstream media fear campaigns. Rescue those in darkness around you. Do not comply with unjust laws, mandates, or regulations. And trust your gut always, because that's God talking to you is what I'm saying, Outcast. Catch my breath a little bit. and I want to say one more time, you guys, before we get going, God bless and stay dangerous, brothers and sisters. Stay dangerous.